On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we're actually going to talk about Ooku, finally, now that it's done. Forever. We're also going to let you know about the GUDAGUDA rerun about to start, and of course, there's just something brewing over in JP over their way, so we'll be sure to talk about whatever that is, plus mailbags and more stuff on today's episode. Coming to you live from the control room, I am Omega. With me as always, Lucky, Commander of Dogfort.
This is Dogfort, come in. Anyway, everyone, I hope you are enjoying Fake Grand Order, aka GUDAGUDA, gratuitously. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP and EN version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers, make sure not to speculate wildly on pieces of information. I'll do that for you.
Yeah, we're going to do that at some point during tonight. So if you are one of those probably about 1,000 people who did not click on our previous video because it was too short, well, we'll do something for you. Listen, I just had dinner. I'm fully loaded up, ready to go. I have 2 monitors now. I can actually watch the sound waves move as I speak. I just have to make sure to lean into my microphone so I don't sound like a goofus. But, yeah. So, let's go ahead and jump on into our show. By reminding everybody, this episode is brought to you by our patrons alike: Adam Harbaugh, Comics, Akakaza Yue, Argonaut 10, Blacklist OG, Carlos, Qua, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jonathan Sandwell, Kylie Den, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rogue Ramen, Charvor, Shawnee P, Some Guy Named Bobs, Soda's on over to her, and 723. If you like what we do and want to see do more, consider Patreon. You get access to episodes early on some other goodies and it helps us out. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Lucky could have done a can crack, but he did that before we started rolling.
I had to take drugs.
Sorry, I don't know why. I'm slightly coffee today. Drink some more water. Okay, that's one tab I don't need.
I'm sorry, you said slightly coffee. I didn't think coughing. I think of your black nectar of life. Coffee.
Both of those things are relevant. But, okey-day. I think it is time to, without any further ado, this is so convenient, I can check the mission clock without looking away from my show notes.
Welcome to the power of dual monitors.
No, it's great. I'll be sure to tell you guys all about all the things I've been doing with 2-monitor technology on What's Up this week, because we'll be doing that again. In case you couldn't tell from, I think, when we said we probably wouldn't do it last week, we in fact did not do it because Lucky was dead and we didn't have anything really important to talk about.
No, I was dead.
We also didn't game that weekend either because he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway. No, not that coughing. No Ks. My ability to take chat jokes is infinitely improved by the fact that I can have Discord pulled up on a second monitor. But that's not what we're here for. We're not for Discord time. We're here for our first official segment in the show notes. Unless you count the intro. I don't know. It's technically broken out in our outline. Anyway, let's check out the MASH.
Senpai.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up, Senpai. Our regular segment for Pro Tips. Pro Tips. Air horns, go. Now we don't have an air horn button yet. I could probably find one, but only I could hear it. It's just not fun. So, this is just a general warning. I don't have any, cool hip pro tips right now. But I do have a general one. Because people are always crunching a lot of numbers, but especially on the EN schedule, we've been crunching many numbers heavily. So, we're running on a slightly advanced schedule. We basically have to get everything in the front half of the year out before July 4th weekend, usually for us. Some people debated with me about whether or not we actually do stuff on the anniversary, but we don't do the anniversary event on the anniversary, so that's what matters. So, yeah, we gotta get everything out of the way. That means that there will have to be squish time. We'll have to make sure that Lost Belt 4 is sufficiently moved up, and that the new GUDAGUDA is sufficiently moved up. Now, there is plenty of time for all of that, but it means it's going to be squishy. So I'm going to launch an official Studio Omega prediction, TM, that Case Files Collab will probably start immediately after the GUDAGUDA rerun ends, because that goes until the 25th, so it'll probably be, let's see, the 25th is a Sunday? Yeah, that'll be 26th, it'll be a Monday. A nice, shiny new Monday. And they will probably start the pre-release event in the middle of the GUDAGUDA rerun at this rate, just to make sure everything goes smoothly, because we don't got a lot of gap week time. So, yeah, just keep that in mind for future, kids. Okay.
Future!
Yeah, and I believe once we account for those things, because we already know the GUDAGUDA dates, that takes care of everything we should look forward to in April.
Yes.
So, let's just power right on through to Records from the Throne, our regular achievement topic. I don't know if Lucky has his numbers on this right in front of him, but I made sure to jot down. When we did the Big Boy Interlude Quartz, I got 130 Saint Quartz. which was, I've literally done, I think, all the interludes I can do except maybe like some 1 second one, and then I gotta level some more people.
My phone's currently being used for something else, so I can't check immediately, but I feel like I'm around 130 myself. Well, the only problem is, and we're gonna go into Not All the World's Evil, but damn close for this, is I don't know the exact number off the top of my head because I have no quartz and no tickets right now because I blew them all trying to get MXA Altar. Now, I didn't spend money. Give Lucky that much leave. I didn't spend money, but like I was completely bamboozled by the banner showing up. I was like, oh no. I was like, I've already made a promise. I can't break it. But with the interlude quartz, what little quartz I've been saving up, and the tickets from the shop, and then the bonus, I was like, all right, this is decent. This is like one full 80 pack right here. I was like, all right, I'll give it a whirl. I got nothing. I got fucking nothing. I'm just like, oh, why? I'm dead. And I was pretty dead because I said this is when Lucky has hurt his back. The fucking second punch of this came, I believe, the next day when I had realized that I hadn't logged in at 10 minutes till the hour, started logging in, got distracted by a bout of pain, and didn't recover until 10 minutes after the login period had passed. So I broke my streak already, and I'm just like, why? Why you do this to me?
Rip.
I can't. Because we're still not on the point where it's
we don't get total rewards. It's only consecutive.
Yeah. Not cumulative.
Yes, that was the word I was... That said, if we were talking to your therapist, they would say that you are improving. You didn't spend any money. We have quite a few people because we knew it was coming, but the 13 million downloads banner did pop in pretty fast and hot. So there are quite a few people floored by that banner. I spent like my 5 or 6-ish tickets I had and got Bupkis so far. My login streak is currently not broken, so we'll see how those last 10 tickets go. But do I still need it? I do still need an SSR Berserker, don't I? Damn me. I've been doing this for like 4 years. What the fuck? RNG? Yeah, I'll probably try with my tickets then. We'll see what happens.
Listen, you pull some crazy ass pulls out of nothing, so
I am incredibly lucky. If you want to watch my luck in action, watch the Progression Tournament Yu-Gi-Oh series, where I do gacha for children's cardboard, and sometimes it's just fucking astonishing. People are gonna be floored by that. You're right, I do have Raikou and Kentucky, so I do have both. Okay, good. I always forget them because that was just a blur of what the fuck, talking about my crazy luck. Trying to get Tomoe, I got sidelined by both Raikou and Kentucky on the Setsubun banner. That's right. Okay. So yeah, no. Alright. So maybe I won't, maybe I will. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll have to see what we do with the tickets and the timing. Because I could try for Okitan again. I still don't have an AoE alter ego. Actually, wait, do I? No, I'd have to double check. I don't think so.
You didn't get a Lip or a Kiara, so I don't think so.
I do not own this. And whether or not I own a King Protea is a mystery. I still remember that it's a mysterious number, so I can't say whether or not I do. Do I or don't I? You don't know.
I don't know.
That said, even if hypothetically I did have one, Okitan would be a slightly different, or possibly significantly different niche. Well, let's not bog everybody down in this, whatever this is, whatever Robin will call this in the time codes, thinking about rolling tickets. We'll see what's the haps when I get the tickets, and we'll go on there. I do have quite a decent chunk of quartz, but that is being baby saved for something. I guess it's probably just a big pull about, am I spending quartz full blown on one or both Lost Belt 4 banners, or am I saving for Mal? That's the question Omega has to ask himself. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into, did you finish your master missions? Hopefully my double finger gun snap carried on the mics there. Hey, if you want to complete your master missions this week, I'm going to need you to defeat 15 cavalry class enemies, not servants or bosses. Defeat 30 cavalry class enemies, not servants or bosses. Defeat 15 knight class enemies, not servants or bosses. Defeat 30 knight class enemies, not servants or bosses. Obtain 3 skill gems or statues of any rarity, and complete 10 quests. No love for extra class, guys? Anyway, there's not a real event to do, so just do your fucking interludes, nerd. Do your interludes, hope they have waves of mobs and not servants. And do your dailies. You'll be fine.
Fine.
But, yeah, that is all our sweet pre-game stuff. Let's go into the news. Not as beefy as last episode's news, so if there's some recent news and you didn't hear us talk about it, go back to last week. Check it out. It was real.
It happened.
The news part was perfectly fine. It was the other stuff that Lucky couldn't be alive for. So we've still got a decent spread of JP and NA news. So starting off with NA, they have announced GUDAGUDA Legend of the Imperial Capital Grail Light. So the GUDAGUDA Imperial Holy Grail Warp rerun will be occurring from the 12th to the 25th of April. Pretty typical rerun stuff. Double EXP for Ryoma. If you have extra Ryomas, you get RPs, etc., so on and so forth. I believe the only new servant I think who is added to the bonus list is Old Man Lee, because he's a GUDAGUDA guy, funnily enough. And I really think that's it. If anybody else has any others, go ahead and throw those out in those commentos. The banner is pretty typical for a rerun. It's going to be an Okitan and Hijikata rotation, so Hijikata and Okita alter come back. Emiya and Lancer Lee should be up all the time, and there will actually be a 3-star rotation of Izo, Medusa, and Medea. So if you just want your Izo, your extra Izo copies, or your first Izo copies, he was limited, make sure to roll on days where Medusa and Medea are not on raid up, because you are just shooting yourself in the foot, sir, or madam.
Bang.
You need those feet, don't shoot them. But yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, we got the full 2 weeks, so that'll be, interesting to see. We'll do all the stuff.
Yeah.
Technically, I think it's like 13 days, because it ends on the 25th and it starts on the 12th, which I'm sure it starts on the 12th in Pacific, so it's like a little bit short, but it should be fine.
Be fine.
Get to real do the stuff, check out the peeps, actually use my Izo, because he was grossly underleveled, because I never remember to pre-prep EXPs. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And if this is your first time, let me actually go ahead and right now look up what episode of Let's Talk FGO that was for the pregame. Because we will not be reiterating the pregame, but you can go back to our prior episodes and check out. And assume it was called GUDAGUDA 3. Yes, GUDAGUDA pregame. That was... the episode title is 25,000 Games, the Nasuverse Story Feat GUDAGUDA 3 pregame. It was published on May 30th, 2020. Simpler times. And that episode is exactly 3 hours and 8 seconds long. So that's cool. Anyway, you guys can go back and check that out. All right. Next up, probably the more bamboozling news.
Bamboozle.
JP has launched the Springtime Summon campaign and Hunting Quests 10.
Sus.
Hunting Quest 10, all the important stuff from the Spring Summoning campaign lasts from the 7th until the 14th. So, dead middle of the month. So, Hunting Quests time. So, so far, because obviously they do, a different one every day. We've only seen some of them. But, we've had bandits who give you hero proofs, books for pages, and giants. But also, in those last couple days, Sakura enemies have randomly been appearing. Sakura hands and Sakura worms. They drop Fool's Chains, by the way, if you're wondering how this affects your farming. So, that's a thing.
Yeah, if you guys are trying to remember, those first debuted in the CCC collab Seraph. Basically, just pink recolorings of the
normal
mechs
enemies.
and,
we haven't seen a couple of them yet, but yeah, I expect we probably will see all the Sakura enemies. So... Well, actually, honestly, most people, if you've been playing recently, should intimately remember these, because you would have had to punch a lot of them for the CCC rerun.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, unless somebody in chat can correct me, I do believe they haven't really shown up since, other than perhaps in some, weird interludes or rank-up quest stuff, but not in, main story content. They do occasionally like to throw weird enemies in there.
Yeah, no, we don't get Sakura types. Usually they just default to the worms and mechs, or... Sometimes, because the first mechs were just the red, white, and blue ones we got back in America.
They first had
guns
in America.
Yeah.
The sword version, the Helter Skelters, was London, but actually, yeah, the Sakura ones are the gun version, aren't they?
Yeah, but
and I believe we first saw. I don't know why they're called Sakura worms, because they're the weird digital X guys, but those were the autonomous defense systems in Camelot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And hands are hands.
Hands.
Which they've actually done a couple of weird hand enemy types as well. But, yeah, so, some people may not realize this because we're only about to see it for the first time, in NA soon. It hasn't happened yet, but we do have a hunting quest coming up for us. And, that about starts the period where JP likes to slip in weird and unusual enemies as a little sneak peek of some assets they're working on for something new.
Yeah, so, I can't think of, I can't remember them all, but...
Somebody did repost this image, so...
Yeah, no, but, like, here, like, coming up, we're gonna have Ganesha statues in ours, and then I believe it was hands...
Yeah, there was a super shiny, like, 5-star hand in the one before Lost Belt
5. Then we had Nobu's in a...
Yeah, Nobu's were in the hunting quest immediately before the GUDAGUDA Himiko event, which, you know, was actually like a decent tease, because there were some people who were like, it was called GUDAGUDA Final, it was the final GUDAGUDA. It wasn't, it was just a Godzilla joke. Have you forgotten how much of a nerd Nasu is? Anyway.
And the last one was pre-summer, and it had a bunch of summer enemies in it.
Yeah, like crabs and stuff. So, yeah I mean, the way I think we talked about this a lot earlier.
Yeah,
we were texting a lot at work about this.
I had thoughts.
It's not a guaranteed thing, but boy, is this sus. This is super sus.
All right, so let me take you through some bullet points here of why I think we might be getting a fucking secret double collab. This is where my hat is right now. So I want you to note in 2017, around this time, the first one was Seraph. Around this time in 2019 is when Ooku happened. Now
it is important to note that Ooku was immediately after the CCC rerun.
Mm-hmm. And now here we are in this time in 2021. So I'm like, okay, so going by this, it's like, it's not impossible, because I do want to say, even though I'm pointing out patterns, just because there's a pattern does not mean it's guaranteed.
Delightworks seems to relish in creating patterns and then just ignoring them whenever they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
We will see this later this year, for instance, when Nasu literally goes, Halloween? Oh, I left that in the previous era. We Saber Wars 2 now.
So that's one of my first things. Basically, every 2 years we have had some sort of Sakura / extra / something. Something I would say is tangentially.
Additionally, we did last year in JP have CCC added 2 main interlude and an Ooku rerun.
Mm-hmm. It's like they were trying to get something out. So CCC and Ooku are related in various ways, and so that got me wondering, okay, so what could they do for right now? And lo and behold, right now, we have a hunting quest that has a summoning banner, which has, of all things, a Tamamo rate up.
Yeah, do you want me to run through that really quick? Because I got my notes. Yeah, so this is the summon banner. This lasts until the 21st, so it goes for an extra week. It has a rotating rate up between Hokusai, this is her first rate up in a while, and Tamamo, which is interesting because Tamamo is permanent. That means that, you know, even keel on whether or not she gets rate ups. We've also got Chiyome and Hozoin on rate up all the time. 2 more seemingly unrelated Japanese servants.
Yes. So now this is where I start pulling a bit of a stretch, because the Lightworks isn't afraid of doing little nothing banners. But I find that the fact that we're getting a banner right before we have a new event dropping, maybe a little sus. So,
well, we have not only a new event we know that's been announced, but also we have very clearly defined gap weeks.
But yes, very clearly defined. So from there, I start maybe trying to parse a couple things, because here's another fucking weird ass leap over in fucking FGO. The fucking Jerusalem chapter is done. They've already started previews for their next one, and people online, I haven't actually fully dived into this because it's all still in moon speak, and I don't want to necessarily spoil myself. But a lot of people are pointing out the next chapter on Arcade, saying it's I don't think it's a spoiler, saying it's Babylon, and it looks like the fucking
it's that one weirdly specific double tower in Shinjuku, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
It looks a lot like that. It could also be anything, because it's just a fucking arcade icon. But also, Arcade has been deliberately becoming weirder and weirder.
It's becoming weirder and weirder, and people are starting to pull parallels to Prototype and fucking Mother Harlot, and I'm just like, okay, people are going off the fucking deep end. And I can't necessarily say that they're wrong.
No. I will say, I feel like people are going so ham for Arcade is because it's because of the wounds Arcade has given us. People are trying really hard for, like, Arcade to be different and meaningful, and that's why the content is different. And it's true. They're doing their own thing. We're out there. It's weird.
It's weird. And so, again, here's another leap of logic. If Nero might be gaining a spotlight in Babylon or whatever for various reasons, what if there might be trying to do something a little different over here? Now, I'm going to direct everyone's attention to a manga called CCC Foxtail. CCC Foxtail is basically the manga version of CCC told from basically Tamo's side. It features a lot of features that actually had to get cut from CCC, and then some. This is where you actually see illustrations of Kazura Drop, Violet, Suzuka.
Yeah. If you want to know more about some of those things, go back and check out, I think it's 2 weeks ago, our episode on cut content. But basically, almost everything that was cut from the CCC video game for a time was put in Foxtail. And also, as like I said, Foxtail is explicitly a manga told from the perspective that Tamamo is Hakuno's servant, as opposed to, say, like, Last Encore, which is all about Nero.
Mm-hmm. So, now, if you know about Tamamo, and you know about Foxtail about this, you might know some of Tamamo's lore about her potential, I want to say. Her beast potential.
She was referred to several times as a possible beast of calamity in the CCC script before anybody knew what the fuck that means. Hi, Primate Murder!
Yes.
Nasu loves this trick.
Yeah, a trick. So let me spell this out. We're at the 2-year gap from a beast-related event. I guess that's the best way to frickin' explain it.
Hey, by the way, we're spoiling Ooku in case it's over, so you better have finished it. Otherwise, you're fucked anyway. So
right. So we're at the 2-year gap of a beast-related event. We have a Tamamo raid-up. We have a 2-week gap. We have a bunch of stuff that looks like maybe, who knows, maybe Nero might be getting something weird. We have... Now, Omega doesn't necessarily call this one, since I find this a little sus, but for their their big yearly collab, I feel like we've gone a little soft on preview
materials.
Moonlight.
Yeah, so I want to say this to clarify your point. I don't think it's inherently sus just because they announced it so far ahead of time, but you are right in that usually the collabs are a little more concentrated. Like, obviously, they're releasing all these costumes and they're releasing trailers every Tuesday for 2 of them, right? Yeah. They're going a little bit ham. They're trying really hard to make you think this is cool. And as we talked about last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime in there, they have actually, like, there's potential story implications to Waltz and Moonlight Lost Room. But usually we have an animated CM by this point. When they announce events, they usually do that. Like, the only time they haven't done that is when they've usually been not spoiling something like 3 weeks before it comes out. That would indicate that there's something to spoil about this event. Yeah.
So, I'm a little suspicious. Now, so what I'm thinking is they're still gonna do, like, their Moonlight collab is still their collab, but it's not actually going to be their main collab. Instead, they're going to bamboozle us with a Foxtail collab here at the end of the week. Or actually, it's like the 14th? Is that the 14th? Yeah.
That would leave a Tamamo raid up for a whole week.
Yep. And so, because, like I said, we still have Kazura Drop and Violet data mined.
Yep. Only King Prody has been released out of those 3 remainders.
Yes. Interestingly enough, in a relatively short time span, Muramasa and Ashiandomen has popped out. So I'm thinking, if they're doing Tamamo now, that probably means that Tamamo won't be in the raid-up of whatever is in there. So will they bring out a new Tamamo? Will they bring out Tamamovich? Will this be her story?
I mean, I think the only thing, though obviously, again, if they're playing the super secret, they wouldn't probably, but the only thing against some of this is none of those silhouettes are anything like Tamamovich. None of them look anything like any of the Sakura 5. It's a big mystery.
It's the thing. That's the thing killing me. I was looking at the silhouettes like, yeah, they don't hecking fit.
On the other hand, much like when she appeared as Konoskaya, everybody knew it was fucking a Tamamo. Come on. It was obvious. Wad Arco drew it. The little fox earrings, the pink hair, the golden eyes. Everybody knew it. I guarantee you that if they put fucking fox ears on that collage, everybody would be like, "Oh my god, bitch, she's here, she's coming," and everybody would be battened down. So, like, just because they were nice enough to let us know so far every servant to come out this year that's new, at least all the SSRs, and I believe both new werewolves have been on there. Somebody did actually do the reverse processing and figured out that MIXA can fit in there. But yeah, it's like, just because they were kind enough to do that doesn't mean that they don't got some stuff to play close to the vest. Again, we talked about this. Delightworks loves to bamboozle you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're expecting a new saber in a swimsuit? Haha. Actually, you get Castor Artoria. What? Castor Artoria, like a year before she's going to be story relevant at this rate.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, that probably means they could put a Castor Artoria raid up in like a banner 2 or 3 of Avalon. But yeah, no, so like we continue to be in the bamboozle zone.
Yes. So
just play the Twilight Zone theme, but instead of like creepify it, like play it on like a kazoo or something.
And honestly, Star Vader actually something I think is like, I'm wondering if they might do another split beast.
I do believe that I think number 6 is supposed to be divided as well.
Yeah.
That's they've discussed, because 6 is the Revelation. That's the one that your boy Arthur fights. I believe it was noted in some of the various prototype fragments or other bits and bobs, the original prototype notes, that it's supposed to be a divided aspect. So
yeah,
I don't think we know anything canonically about 5.
No.
I am also I am personally still pretty adamant that I really hope they don't make us fight a 4, or if they do, it's not foe. It's just somebody else becomes beast number 4. Just because that was like one of the big cool things about the finale of part 1 is that we punched the ticket on 2 and then a third beast, one of which without fighting. Like, I think thematically that's actually really important.
Mm-hmm.
Monica is from Prototype.
Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely some, there's some weird things happening, like, especially with Lost Belt 6. I wonder if this will lead into Lost Belt 6, like OQ's gonna lead into India.
It could. There's not technically, unless 5.5 does it in there somewhere, but technically I don't think it does because of its design. We are open. Now, admittedly, we've got about 2 months before we get to Avalon. They said it would be in Lost Belt 6, Avalon LaFay would be in June, so...
Yeah, well, I'm just like saying, like, because now that I went through OQ, I actually went and looked some stuff up, and understanding why OQ was able to happen. So I'm starting to wonder now if this is one of those same things, is whatever's happening in this next 2-week event might be related to what's happening in Lost Belt 6 in some tangential way.
It could be. I do believe, didn't they say in front of like Lost Belt 1 or 2 that I think it was 2, because we were going to pass by it. The Lost Belt in Britain is, like, not surrounded by a storm, but by a weird wall of light.
Yeah. There's something weird going on there.
There's a lot of weird things going on there, but there's at least one thing we already know about in English.
So like, here's the thing. This, again, like, bear with me here. This is a lot of leaps of logic. It really is, but the crazy thing about this game is sometimes they will just do those leaps, and you're just like, okay.
A key aspect of Naziverse world building is to just randomly string shit together that vaguely makes sense, and then shoot sword beams and explosions. Yeah. Make it work. Go to space.
Space. I mean, we did go to space. We went to. Oof. That was a mood. Those were not stars. All the lights in heaven are comma.
Well, I mean, that makes the prologue of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann very appropriate. All the lights in the sky are our enemy.
Oh man. So, let's see here. But yeah, no, I think I laid out all the points I had.
Yes, there's a lot of crazy sus potential here.
Yeah.
Or it could just be OQ gets added to main interlude next.
Yeah. I said they could just, I don't know, maybe they'll just do an interlude campaign.
Well, it would have to be something that lasts a little bit, unless they do like 3 of these weenie events back to back, right? Because we've got a hunting quest for a week. And then we've got 2 weeks free, so it has to be like a rerun or a real event or something. Or they're going to have, 3 weeks where it's just what people call quote-unquote break weeks? That's not crazy. They have to be working pretty hard over there. They're churning out all these new events. They've got a collab they're building up to. Lost Belt 6 is coming in the first half of this year. They've confirmed they're going to put it somewhere in June,
Mm-hmm.
But that is a little, like, lackluster. We'll see. We will definitely see probably by the 14th. That will be the middle of next week. So before we record our next show, we'll know things and stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, and to be fair, there are still other things that we can slide into that week. There are still couple reruns that haven't happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
Case Files, I believe, is the next big one up.
And we still got the Himiko. It's a bit early because that was only fall of last year, but...
But this was my speculation at first before I noticed about the Sakura things, but once I noticed they were random Japanese servants on Raid, I was like, are they going to build up to the Himiko rerun? That's, like, early, but not nonsense. Stop that. You stop that. This is what I mean when I say I'm tired of people saying this. I want it thematically to matter. If it's just foe again, that's lazy writing. It didn't thematically matter. They just made us fight Beast 4 foe anyway.
What if it was actually Primate Murder?
I mean, if it was the Tsukihime collab, that would probably make us happy for other reasons, but...
Yeah, I don't think it is, but... Again, like, as I said, Lucky was literally vibrating at work, not working, because I'm like, I have things and thoughts! No, I was actually looking for a current lineup of silhouettes, but I'm actually laughing
because... If you
because...
scroll up somewhere in the patron channel, where hashtag patron chat, where we're discussing with our patrons right now as we live show,
oh, here it is.
It's in there somewhere for sure, but... Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. That was a big dude. This person with a hat.
I don't want to say for sure it's Sir K, but I'm like 90% certain that's gonna the big dude silhouette unseen in the new opening movie is gonna be Sir K because he's described as being giant.
So I'm just like staring at the silhouettes. I think I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, I'm looking at this. There's definitely a girl who looks like she's got a side ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a Sakura. That would probably be Kazura drop. It would have to be, I think.
Because honestly, the more I think about this, I don't think this is all the servants that they're gonna have, unless they're literally not gonna do anything else.
I mean, they clearly established that within like the first couple banners, this was obviously everybody coming in the first half of the year minimum. Because we know that Lost Belt 6 is coming. We can be reasonably certain that I think 2 or 3 of these, probably 3 or 4 maybe even, are from Lost Belt 6, which are obviously known ahead of time and hyped up. But you are correct. We are 2 months out from that. There's usually like at least 1 new event every month, right? I think we usually do that. Sometimes 2. So there should definitely be some more in there. And obviously the silhouettes get very confusing. There were what, 10 of them? 10 or 12 of them picked out originally. Somebody fact check me on that. There were 2 digits. Which if it was 6, that's like 2 new servants a month, and for or the 5 months, maybe 3 new servants a month for the first 5 months or whatever. But you are correct that this may not be everybody. That said, again, now that I look at it, I'm like, number two on the left there, that is definitely a ribbon on the side of her head. That's kind of a Sakura thing.
Because remember they sometimes put them in different ascensions, like Galatea ain't in her pants.
Yes, Galatea's not in her pants because the pants would give it away. Is that actually? I'm trying to remember.
I'm pretty sure
that is actually Karen's first ascension, isn't it? That's just not the ascension they showed on stream. They showed her second ascension to be funny because Delightworks likes to fuck with you.
So yeah, they could just be in weird ascensions too. So
I am. So we can be the ones we can be sure about is Big Spear / Sword Boy and
number 1.
Big man in the center. Mm-hmm. And number 1, girl with weird crown thing. Those are definitely Lost Belt 6 because of that trailer we saw. We've seen those character designs. They're very nighty. There's no way those aren't Lost Belt 6 servants. Witch Hat could also be Lost Belt 6. Morgan is coming.
We are waiting.
Don't quote me. Don't bet on me. That's just like if that doesn't happen, I'll be dead. We'll be dead.
I can't handle it.
It makes absolutely no fucking sense because I mean seriously, guys. They went so far as to change Morgan's design for the Apocrypha anime.
It's good design though.
And also, to be real, a lot of those night girls we saw in that trailer, those 3, also have similar elements. Like the one who's even in that banner has like a weird toothy hairpiece crown thing. That's exactly like what Morgan has when she shows up in an APOC flashback. She's wearing a weird toothy dragon crown thing and a veil. But otherwise, we don't see her face, but she has the same... Actually, she has the same hair color as Saber Alter, which is hilarious, but yeah. That would also be another canonical saber face, because they're sisters. Wow.
This ain't weird at all.
Perfectly normal. But yeah, so there's like, we got some options, we got some flex, but now I'm definitely, like we said, now that we're talking, we're doing the conspiracizing, we're drawing our colored twine, I'm like, that girl there has a fucking side ribbon. It's a ribbon on the side. The hair's gonna be purple. It's gonna be a thing. In before, it's an absolutely original Sakura face for no reason. I think I joked about, I was like, has there been a space Sakura face? No, canonically, no. Not yet.
I mean, if they want to make, like, we'll talk about this, but if Lady Kasuga ain't a Sakura face, I'm gonna be a little upset now.
It's true. Actually, shit. Hold on. Now I gotta do some forensics. Hold on. Let me blow this image up. I've got 2 monitors. I can do this side by side. Let me pull this up. Pull this up over there. Lady Kasuga FGO is my Google search. Show me that image. No, that is not the same style of ribbon. Okay. She has the flower hairpin and a much more subdued ribbon. Okay.
Like you said, Ascensions. Motherfucking Ascensions.
That's true, but I was just double checking. I mean, she would definitely be using her. They would not reuse her sprite as seen at OQ, probably. So, I don't know. They could do a complete redraw. They don't usually do that when they have the same assets already, but that was also explicitly Lady Kasuga in Parvati's body. That said, spoilers for that discussion about OQ we're about to have. That fucking ending is all just roll for Lady Kasuga in 2 to 3 years. Bye.
Also, like, that silhouette is completely wrong. Like, the witch hat has fucking Karen's cannon.
Yeah, that is definitely outdated.
Yeah.
Because we clearly have mismatched some things. It does also seem to indicate that the side ponytail ribbon is the one with the giant spear, but I don't remember if that's how that shook out. It certainly looks like the other one on the far left is holding the spear. So,
it's like there are many questions, and I need answers.
And we'll get some of them soon. But okay, let's power through the last couple of things in this news about the Spring Summon campaign. Yes, this has all been news. Check it, Robin. So there's special master missions to get some apples. Basically, do hunting quests during this time period. You get some apples. Yay. You can also buy Hokusai's Trial Quest in the RP shop if you don't have it already. We already talked about the Summon Banner. Those 4 servants have double suck rate until the 14th, so that's cool. And there are 2 rank-up quests. This is pretty interesting. So, Hokusai's 3rd skill has been buffed. It now gives her Arts Star Weight and gives her 5 to 15 stars instantly. That's cool. Arts Crit, yay. Because that's also her skill that makes her do defense down on arts, that's actually pretty neat. You know, it gives her a complete arts package, especially because I don't think we've really had a lot of other majorly arts foreigners. MHXX has an arts NP, but her buffs are actually very generic, and she's really good for them. But yeah, the other one is Chiyome's NP got buffed. This is pretty cool for me. I think I've got like NP3 Chiyome by now. But basically, standard issue, interlude / rank up damage increase. Also, she has an added effect. She now inflicts extra curse damage for 3 turns on the target, doubling the amount of curse damage they take for 3 turns.
Ooh.
Since she also has a skill that I believe puts curse on her arts cards, it's got pretty interesting self-ramifications, but also gives her synergy with lots of other units who love to dump curse on people. So that's pretty cool. Such as Ashia Doman. He has a whole thing about curse. So, yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. That's all of our real news that have come so far out of the hunting quests in the banner, though. A little surprised that we put Tomo on the banner and we did not give her a rank up. She's got a 3rd skill that's not buffed.
That's true.
Or a 2nd skill, technically, is the one that's not buffed. But her morph is generic still. And while good, as I've pointed out, Osakawa Hime also had a perfectly fine normal morph, but they buffed that one anyway, so they could do some interesting things to give Tomo her own niche. The only last bit of news is that the FGO X Waltz collab does continue the build-up. I don't remember when we talked about these where, but we've seen trailers and costumes for adding Nidacris and Altera, but also latest Maeve and Serenity. Now, all of these are still from the list of costumes available in Waltz, but there's only 6 costumes left, I believe.
Yes.
And there's more than 6 options left, so it's a real battle for who's getting in there. That said, do make sure to riot if Tomacat isn't on the list, since Maeve got in even though she already has a costume. Yes. Not that her costume's not cool in this. It's really, really nice. Very sweet. It's a good art look for her. And shout out to, them remembering that characters such as Altera and Serenity exist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely not enough slots for everybody. So, we'll see.
We will find out every Tuesday.
Yep. All right. Well, we're about 45 minutes in. We're about to go for a mailbag.
Yeah.
But I would like to take a brief intermission.
Alrighty. Everyone,
So we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back.
We're back. Yay. I got water. Hope everyone else is hydrating. If you're over here in the U.S., summer is coming. Prepare. It's gonna suck.
We're gonna move immediately from winter to summer.
Yes.
Welcome to global warming, kids.
Google, why'd you let me type summer into your search bar? Don't do that. Stop me.
But also, Google, don't autocorrect me or autocomplete me ever again. Thank you. When I stop typing, stop adding words. This isn't a convenience thing. I want to actually just ask the thing where, like, this is a problem I have where I always try to Google search something and Google is like, hey, do you mean this oddly specific thing that's like 2 words longer? No, you fuck. I put a stop there because I didn't want it any further. That's where it stops. Maybe I should put periods in my Google searches. Put fucking punctuation in there. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for mailbag.
Yeah. And this week, we are indeed doing Let's Talk FGO mailbag. It's the lightning round. Because I only got it out yesterday. I was finally at the point where I was like, alright, I will be okay to record. So I shot it out. I got it out there. And people are ready. We got 24. So we have a good chunk. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. But with nothing further, we will go ahead with this week's Let's Talk FGO mailbag. The segment where we, meaning me, read you, all you guys, stuff. And comment accordingly. Let's see, I said we got 24, but as I said, we are going to have big talks in the back half. Big talks. All about that OQ. And for once, I actually did a bit of a pre-screening because I was actually worried about how many submissions we receive. And it seems like we're going to be talking about OQ a fair bit anyway. So, nice. Alright. Oh, that's right, I was pulling up a timer. I was going to do something, and I completely forgot. 1 hour timer.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go. So, with that, the timer is ready, and we begin right meow. And with that, we start immediately with he who has lost so much SQ, who says, question, did you guys listen to Callie's new album? If so, do you have any favorites among the songs? Okay, so first, your second comma was good. I don't know why you put a comma after guys. Did you guys listen to Callie's new album? Are we Shatner now? We're Shatner now.
We are
Shatner.
Enunciating. Strangely.
But to answer your question, well, I do think Callie's super fucking cool and entertaining. I'm not particularly a fan of her music. Not to say that she's a bad artist, it's just I'm just not a fan of that genre music in general. Listen, Lucky usually only listens to fucking like 3 things. Anna's songs like 90s alternative and fucking like video game orchestrations.
My tastes are similarly eclectic. I've never been a really big rap guy, so similarly to Lucky, no, I have not. Callie's great, love the sheriff, but I'm just not really big into the genre of a lot of that.
Listen, I love it when she's just duding on a fucking recorder, just yelling at people.
I love when her music knowledge is like a bit, but I
yeah,
I'm not. It's not usually my thing.
No, shout out to you, Kelly. We love you. But with that, we must move on. So thank you very much.
Want to come on the podcast? You have to.
Oh God, no. We
shouldn't invite VTubers onto our audio-only podcast. That's dumb. Don't actually do that. If you're a VTuber out there, don't do that for us. That would be dumb. That won't help you at all.
No.
But we're gonna be able to stream again after this weekend, so maybe
we'll figure it. There's some stuff happening. There's stuff in the back, but no, we'll move on. So thank you very much. This next one comes from Moon is currently exhausted from dealing with a violent 13-year-old Brad who won't leave her the fuck alone. Then slap him!
But also, yes, as Lucky says, do not be afraid to lay your hands upon a child.
Listen, slight tangent. Lucky is not there is a difference between discipline and abuse. There really is.
We here at Studio Omega do not condone violence or abuse towards children. However, listen, at the same time, it doesn't matter whether they're young or old. Sometimes you gotta be willing to throw hands. That's just his line about self-respect. Anyway.
Yeah. But moving on. Question. Hope you're both doing well. Hope you're feeling better now, Lucky. I am. Have you ever had any god-awful experiences with kids or younger siblings? Yes. This is why I got fucking snipped, so I will never fucking ever have them.
I'm the youngest, so no.
No, like I've looked after a lot of kids in my time, and I'm like before I was like, oh god, when did I get the vasectomy? It was like I was like,
remember how like a month ago you said you weren't gonna say that was a very big just now in the sound wave.
No.
Ooh, that's another great sound wave. This is fun. I can watch the sound waves while Lucky reads a mailbag. It's possible that I have too much power. Anyway, yeah.
Gaku. That's not important. So yes, I have had horrible experiences with children, and this is why I say sometimes you just have to slap a kid. Sometimes it's literally just the show. Like some people might say this is bad, but sometimes you literally have to be like, no, you have to put that kid in their fucking place, and sometimes you can only do that with physical force.
You just be homie.
Just enough to know that you are, in charge, and you're not going to take his fucking shit. What's up, Omega?
No, it's fine. Discord just lagged out for a little bit. I lost a little bit of that, but we're all good down here.
We're all good. Like I said, but don't be laying your hands on a channel for any old fucking reason or any sort of perceived grievance. And after...
It is still a baby child.
Yes. And if you do have to resort to physicalities, make sure you understand why this is happening. Don't beat him and leave. You have to explain. But don't be afraid.
At certain periods of our human history, 13-year-olds will be dangerous. That's a soldier right there. That's a fighter. You gotta watch out.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. I let it catch up since it lagged out. How we doing, audio? Okay, audio's back. We're fine. Just got a little bit of lag. Wanted it to catch up. Sometimes the computer freaks out a little bit. Okay. Next question.
Thank you very much. This next one comes from, there are some who call me Tim, who says, no question this week, just wishing you well in your future roles and wishing Lucky a speedy recovery. It is going pretty good, except for some odd reason my leg is just now starting to hurt, and that's not good. Time for more drugs. No, I will not take more drugs. But thank you very much.
On second thought, let's not go to Mailbag. 'Tis a silly place.
It is a silly place. Our next one comes from a level 1 spider and a level 99 dungeon. Powerful. The dungeon is, not the spider. They say, hey, Lucky Omega, hope things are solid. I've got a silly question for you this time. What would you find more dangerous, a date with Kiara or a date with Maeve? Have a good day and avoid cannibalistic monster spiders. So there needs to be a caveat to this because OQ actually did explain something about Kiara. Kiara right now has a vow of abstinence, which means she is not actively indulging in her earthly desires. Which means while she talks a lot subtly about being horny on main, she's not actually doing anything horny on main. So as long as you do not succumb to her, she's actually pretty damn safe. Weird, I know.
That said, you can still totally get yeeted in a Valentine's, so...
Yes.
You gotta be careful.
Maeve is a queen, and she expects to be treated as such. And usually that means that she's gonna do whatever the fuck she wants.
She's gonna put on her hater blockers. She's gonna start flipping the bird, and she's just gonna do what she wants.
And that might be you. Now, so if it was just a date, I can honestly go with either or. If there was, going back to someone's place, take Maeve. You'll end up probably broken and bruised and bloody, but you'll be alive.
Yeah, the only thing in danger with Maeve is probably your chastity.
Yeah.
And maybe some light pain play. With Kiara, if that goes badly, that's, it's gonna go really badly.
That's gonna go really badly. So, like I said, for a basic date, you can probably go either or. It's just what's your flavor. But if it's, like I said, anything after a date, just stay away from Kiara.
It is true. Away. That's a great comment from Carlos. The NPs tell the story. Compare those two things. They're both bad. Which is worse? All right.
And honestly, real talk, I think it'd be a blast to go on a date with Maeve.
I mean, she definitely would be the kind of date who doesn't take shit from anybody. like if the waiter or the maitre d' gave you some crap, it would be like, no. She would be like, excuse you, no, I need to see your manager. Do you know who the fuck I am?
I was like, remember, Maeve's not in your harem, you're in Maeve's harem.
That is correct. That is the proper way to look at that relationship.
But I think that's all we have to say. I have to say on that. You have anything you want to add to that, Omega?
No, I got my one-liner out already.
Good job. All right, so that's all on that. Thank you very much. We're gonna move on. This next one comes from Suna, drowning in a mountain of mochi. There was worse ways to die, maybe. But they say, hey, Lucky Omega, hope you've had a decent week. I'm recovering. Hopefully things are well. They aight. Can't wait to get the frogs added to my mountain of snacks. Nob. I am excited to do the rerun, but unfortunately, well, actually, I take that back. I'm not necessarily excited to do the rerun, but I'm excited to see the mini Nobus again. If only that, and completely edgy Nobu, like Imperial War Nobu. Like, give me that for a costume for Nobunaga. Just dark and edgy, not like super dark and super edgy like Mao Nobu. Just 50% edge.
Serious, not I'm on fire.
Not your son calls me mommy too. But thank you for that. So we're gonna keep moving. This next one comes from Master Cotton, the Den of the Ara Ara Association. I can imagine who's in that. But they say, wishing you both the best in health and luck. Question. Oh, excuse me. Question this week is this: are affection and desire different enough to be considered separate emotions? I'm curious if it's possible to love Kiara without falling to her temptation. It'd be hilarious to see her reaction when I basically say yes, but also no.
So this is a fun one.
Yeah, I know. This is the one I read. So, who was it that defined the four loves? Was that Aristotle or Socrates? I can't remember.
I'll double check. It was a Greek philosopher.
It was a Greek philosopher. But this is literally gonna be a linchpin of my topic here. But I'll make it talk us up. It's yes.
Well, so the book The Four Loves is by C.S. Lewis, but I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Can I figure out when he took those? Because those are Greek words.
Yeah, but so right now I'm gonna tell you, this is one of those weird, I guess blame the patriarchy mindsets of there cannot exist love without sex. Toss that out the fucking window. There are just as many types of love as there are stars in the sky. Mm-hmm. Like I said, no love is completely similar to another one. Like, this is why I wanted to bring up the four loves, because it basically paints this really big drawn out picture here, and you can kind of go from there. But one of the Greek philosophers, Omega's looking up, basically defined love into. I can't
find it very easily, but it is a book published by C.S. Lewis. Is the actual The Four Loves as a concept?
Yeah. But it's the love of your family, the love of God, love of friends, and love of there's another one.
Romantic love.
Romantic love, yes.
Storge, which is empathy through familiarity. Philia, the bonds of friendships. Eros, romantic love, which is technically also still separate from desire, raw sexuality, which in the book Lewis called Venus. And then agape, unconditional love, cosmic love.
Yeah. So, especially especially in these days and times when we have the whole sexuality spectrum of things here, love can exist in almost any and all forms, whether it be physical, long distance, non-physical, merely emotional, mental, all that stuff. So yes, in the short term, yes, you can completely and utterly care and love for Kiara without falling to the temptations of her flesh.
And honestly, Kiara would be quite bamboozled by that. Which is why I said this topic is funny. Yes.
Because, again, with the great characterization of Kiara and Ooku, Kiara is someone who exists to be loved, I guess is the best way to say that. If Kama is the one to love, Kiara is the one who exists to be loved.
Another way to look at this is how it's phrased in the event is...
the void in the...
Well, no, it's Kiara says that she is the one who receives infinite love, and Kama is the one who gives infinite love.
Yes.
Which is, while they are, and I was quite right, they are referred to as left and right in this, but then they also have the fucking Japanese double wordplay. They have to make L and R also things. Thanks, guys. But, no, the way they phrase it is, that they are like polar opposites. They're like matter and antimatter. They govern the same areas, but are completely diametrically opposed.
Yeah, I think the ones is the examples they use is Kiara is the center taking in everything, but Kama is everything but the center sending everything in, or something like that. Can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've read it. So yes, short story is yes. There are many types of love, so you because remember, Kiara's temptation is generally predicated on the fact that you will basically fall hopelessly in love with her. Will fall hopelessly in love with her and, succumb to, here's the key part, earthly desires.
Yeah, we learn. If you don't know a lot about the 5 Buddhist precepts, you do now.
Yeah. Ooku was very kind and explained a bit of how Kiara thinks and how she follows the Buddhist precepts mostly.
Yeah.
Kinda.
And to be fair, those things are like, as she explains, those are similar to like certain vows you might see Christian monk or nun orders take. That's like those are kind of the precepts taken on by certain sects of Buddhist monks. To which Kiara says basically, she doesn't come out and say it, but she's like, actually, my version of this doesn't really focus so much on that 5th one. That's a her thing. She adopted her own version of the 5th precept when she got summoned.
Mm. So I think we've talked about that enough. I hope that was enlightening enough for you. But we must move on. This next one comes from... Oh, thank you very much for that. So this next one comes from Tire Spirit of Chaos, Cyrus21, who says, question, hey guys, how are things going? They're going alright. Been having family a lot, so I'm pretty wiped, and my luck with MHA Alter has been not good, besides getting a second 2030. Anyways, I've been playing Resident Evil 2 Remake on a system mode, and I was wondering, have you guys played it yet? And if so, what's your best gray? I did system mode mostly because of personal reasons. Anyway, good luck on the upcoming banners on the GUDAGUDA rerun. I already have my OKD Alter last time, and I'll be getting my first rare prisms. I'll see you next time. May Lady Luck smile on you. So, I played Resident Evil 2 Remake, have not beat it, because I was streaming it, and no one watched me. So I'm like, okay, I've lost interest. If no one wants to hear me scream at zombies and Mr. X, I don't care. As I said, Lucky needs a feedback loop. I really do.
X gonna give it to you.
But we move on, so thank you very much. This next one comes from a woman questioning her sexuality due to comma while writing a dark fantasy novel.
How specific?
Very specific, but I'm not shaking. I'm not judging. Wait. I'm not challenging. The comma is.
Comma of judgment. Our most popular new emote.
But they say, hey guys, I hope that the recovery process is going well for Lucky, and I felt so bad and was quite worried. Don't worry, I am on the up. I would have sent Lucky a PM regarding my sympathies, but however, my shyness completely interfered with that. It's alright, you fine. I have received your feelings, and they are delicious. Anyways, I do want to ask, have you guys already covered the magic itself within Fate, or heck, the Nonsiverse itself in an episode of the podcast? If not, would it be part of the Omega Sensei section? Sensei section's a fun thing to say. In a future episode. I apologize for getting the actual name of the segment. I only asked this earlier this week. I jumped into a rabbit hole to research how magic itself worked in Fate or whatnot. Well, thank you for answering my question in advance, and I couldn't tell if this was a text dump or not, as both can be kind of funky. Either way, I give you both blessings for the upcoming future. Smiley face.
This was, in fact, a block of text.
Yeah, it's fine.
So to answer your question, yes, we did do a Teach Me on Magecraft. I don't know which one that is, but we do have a lovely playlist called Teach Me Omega Sensei, which is in chronological order and is updated, so you can scroll back a few weeks and check. If you want to talk about magic with a capital M, no, we have not hit that one yet. That will be this month's topic. So at some point in the future, we will talk about the five, or possibly true magics, and what those are, because that is an important internal modifier. Magic is a special thing. It's like a miracle, you know. Oh. It's very special, whereas Magecraft is more of a scientific thing, a form of functional magic. But yeah, there you go.
There you go. So, thank you very much for that. We move on. This next one comes from the Phantom member of Card Gang, who says, hey guys, glad to be back to a full episode. My question is, if all the Chaldean pillows were to disappear forever, which servant would be your permanent replacement for sleep time? If you use multiple pillows, that works too. Honestly, I think off the top of my head, Scheherazade. This is almost literally her shtick. Almost.
It's kind of a free ASMR pillow.
Yeah.
Now
she has those big cushy thighs. She has that lovely voice. She'll tell you bedtime stories. Probably stroke your hair gently.
This is good. Let's just double down. It's Scheherazade. That said, this did come from... I know the impetus for this question. This came from a funny discussion we had about what would Kama's reaction to you having a Kama body pillow be.
My answer is nothing. She is the body pillow. If you love that body pillow enough, she is the body pillow, because that's how Kama works, funnily enough. She's supposed to satisfy all your love. So if your love is for a body pillow, technically that means she turns into a body pillow. Just
imagine Kama doing like the weird Kermit noodly arms motion. We talk about that. She's everywhere. I'm the universe, dude. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, Kama.
It's like, you're depressed. Be quiet. Slap.
Bonk.
Bonk.
Very well, let us continue.
let's continue. So that is that. Thank you very much. We move on. This next one comes from the Eternal Storm, who says, question, what is something you do while grinding in FGO or any other mobile games to help with the monotony? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the event and looking forward to your videos. Hey, I'm glad you're looking forward to them. To answer that simply, I multitask. Like,
yeah, basically.
Generally I will be watching something, playing something, or doing something. Like anime. So shoot, I'm like, listen, guys. As I'm doing this right now, I'm playing both Destiny Child and Azure Lane. It's and now I'm looking at, while I'm doing this and the show, I'm also looking at clips started. I'm thinking like, I need to make a floor rabbit, because I have realized here, looking at conversations, we have a lot of people who are just on the floor. Just done.
The floor energy is big. We definitely started that somewhere, and people have consistently kept it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, redraw that image that just got posted just with Tier Rabbit.
Yep, Tier Rabbit. Thinking about it. And I know Megas definitely might be upping his multitasking capability because he got a second monitor. The mad lad.
Yeah, I can do a lot of multi-drifting now, and have been doing it. But yeah, no, a lot of people tell us they watch our content while they do FGO stuff, which is why most people seem pretty happy that our episodes are usually like 2 or 3 hours, if not way more. Because you can kill a lot of time in FGO listening to us. But obviously, we don't listen to ourselves usually. So what I do is basically that, but for other stuff. I'll watch Let's Plays, new stuff or old stuff. I'll listen to other podcasts, actual play recordings. Or I will, depending on the type of game I'm playing, I will, multi-game. If it's something slower, or if I'm replaying something I know a lot about, I can totally be on my PS5 or on my PC and also do FGO.
Fajow!
I can absolutely play Civ and play FGO at the same time. Those are totally compatible skill sets. That's new Stellaris DLC is coming out. I could probably play FGO and Stellaris, real time with pause.
Yeah, if I put it on slow, I can probably do it.
I'll put it on fast. Who cares? What are you afraid of? You afraid of something?
Yeah, I'm afraid of a lot of shit out there.
Actually, yes. No, but yeah. No, there's that stuff. And if you want loads and loads of content that's very long, we have a wide variety of playlists. Actually, this is a good point for me to plug in there. I was watching some old stream or something just back of ours because I was like, it got some views, and I was like, what was in this one? And I was reminded that at one point I wanted to quest to do a playlist of all the Fate AP we did.
Oh yeah, I saw that popped up.
Yeah, I did actually do it. I put it. It's actually on our channel page in one of the higher up ones, so now you can go listen to all 6 parts of that. They are several hours long. I think every one is exactly 3 hours. I presume somebody was out there trying to cut us off. But yeah, so we've got lots of these little things you can hit up and just, watch through our playlists. We have less playlists than we used to. We cut out a lot of faff not too long ago, but definitely do still have some decent playlists you can queue up for lots of other stuff. I also love to plug my Yu-Gi-Oh! Series I do with some of the lads, the community. I release those now every Friday. We're on, I believe the episode that just came out is episode 16, Elemental Energy, all of which are minimum an hour long. So, hey, if you want to kill some time and you want to hear lots of people yell about stuff, and quite frankly, just talk about lots of stuff. If there's nothing going on and the 2 people playing need to concentrate, we will talk about whatever in the booth. So yeah, this is and to put a point to wrap this back around to the original question, this is absolutely what I do to kill time for FGO as well, or for any other game. I've been trying to catch back up on Critical Role, for instance. Been listening to that a lot while I do stuff. So yeah, that's my answer. Okay.
All right, so we move on. Actually, let me check the timer here real quick. How are we doing? Hey, we still got 35 minutes. I think we're going at a good clip.
Yeah, I would think so. From the mission clock, we got pretty good. We're only an hour 12 in. Plenty of time. Where are we in the... Have I loaded all these? No, okay. Now I've loaded all of them. Okay. So we're pretty decent. We're about halfway through. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you keep going. So thank you very much. This next one comes from predicting that 3 of these entries in this mailbag will have that in their alias, excluding myself. I think I only saw one other person that maybe had that in their alias, but
I mean, I can just run Control F and find out pretty fast.
Oh, I don't really. Oh, I'll figure that out. Well, actually, no, I'll do it right now. I'm curious. How many people have that in their alias?
I think you were right in that first one, only the one.
Oh, well, that means, well, sir, that means that you are a poor fortune teller.
You have predicted wrong.
10 years dungeon. But they say, question, dear Lucky and Omega, how do you think mages figure out what their origin is? I like to imagine some mages uses water divination and a sword explodes out of glass. It goes like conderglations.
There's a pretty bad misspelling there, yeah.
Conderglations. Your origin might have something to do with sharp objects. That'll be $50, please.
I gotta be real, I don't actually know if most people know what their origin is. If you're
well,
aware of what your origin is, that does weird stuff.
Yeah, like in the case of Kara no Kyokai, once you actually learn what your origin is, you are forever changed to basically be, I don't want to say necessarily controlled, but put on the path of that origin, I want to say.
You basically cannot stray from the path of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, there is, also in Kara no Kyokai, the bad guy explicitly does a thing where he awakens people's origins. He figures out what their origin is and, like, activates it for them so that they usually develop some sort of supernatural power. Kara no Kyokai was early, guys. It's not always internally consistent. But, yeah, so there's definitely a method to determine other people's origins and even to let them know what their origin is. But usually I think mages just go with the flow, and what's much more common is their element, because everybody has an elemental affinity. Shiro is weird in that his element is also sword, but that's because he had a sword thing stuck in him for like 10 years. It does weird shit to you. Most people's elemental affinities are one or more of the classic 5 elements.
Unless you're like Rin or Sakura. It's like, no, let's just add some extra shit.
Well, Rin's element is that she's an average one, which is actually all 5, because too cool for school. Sakura's element is actually the imaginary one. That's why you get imaginary around imaginary element. That is also absolutely, though, because of shenaniganery. Her original element would probably either be water, because that's what the Mato Magecraft is known for, or it would be an average one like Rin, because they're sisters.
Shenaniganery. Tanigaku. That, as we say, is that. And we will move on, so thank you very much. This next one comes from the man that struggles with aliases. That's the only that. And they say, hey, Lucky and Mega, happy week, and wishing you a quick recovery, Lucky. I'm so happy that everyone's all like, please get better, Lucky. This pleases me on a level you guys do not understand. But I shall continue. I'll tell you to hang in there, Lucky, but I don't think you should upset your back even more. That is a very wise choice. I'm glad you decided not to tell me that. Question. Do you guys have a favorite or memorable interlude? Just recently, I found out I have clear over 100. You forgot an ED, my dude.
Grammar.
Over 100, and can't remember most of them. No, that's fair. But the ones I can't forget are Who's the Tane, Tamamo Cat, and Columbus. Sorry if the question has been asked before. In my defense, the show has been going on for a while. Virtual hugs. Ayy. To be fair,
Questions about interludes fairly frequently, but, I mean, it is also something that, did recently come back up.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, like, memorable right now, Pisons. Pisons was great.
Yeah, Pisons was pretty good. I'm trying to think. Because, hey, guess what? I talked about this at the start of the show. I've done 130. That's a lot. And, unfortunately, a lot of them are fucking bullshit. I'm sorry to change it. You may want to pause the timer for a second here, Lucky.
All right.
But I did Nero Bride's first interlude. I assume she has more. It's just a quartz interlude. But I was just utterly bamboozled by why it exists. All you do is go to Fuyuki and fight shadow servants while Nero occasionally rambles about marriage jokes, basically. Like, she jokes about the dowry and, finding the event, and I'm just like, this is like 2 nodes. Why does this exist? This is just a quartz interlude, but also I don't think it really did anything interesting with the character. What's going on here? So early interlude writing is weird at times.
Another one I remember fondly is Lancer Artorias, where she's all cold and standoffish, and you're like, but why though? So you literally go into her dream, and you're all like, tell me your secret, and she's like, no, until fucking Romulus shows up and be all like, and is like, tell her you love her, and you're like, I love her, and she literally can't take it. She literally can't take your love. It's so great. I died.
So I didn't. It happened exactly as you paused between words, but my Discord actually disconnected and reconnected me on its own just then. That was wild.
Oh wow, that was wild.
We went to orange and then back to green. Anyway, we're full bars. It's fine. Another interlude I did pretty recently that was at least interesting was Neja's actually.
Oh, I love Neja's.
That's pretty interesting. There's a pretty funny moment with Mash when you're like, there's one thing that I question about. Mash just zooms in and says, here's your coffee. I'm imagining sticking the coffee in your face. He's just like, shush.
I got the coffee thrust at me 3 times.
Yes. But also has a lot of interesting commentary about many different myths for characters and their origins and stuff. Some of Maeve's interludes are funny, yeah. Pisons, though, is a recent one that's really good.
Eternal shame.
But there are also a lot of weird added interludes that don't make any sense. But okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, let me start that timer again.
Oh, actually, though, I do want to throw this out there, Lucky, really quick.
Go for it.
Related to that first thing you said, I was going to comment on when talking about people wishing you happy recovery, but I had to sneeze off camera. I think you... I don't know if you've listened to yourself back then, Lucky, but I think you misunderestimate how bad you sound.
Oh, really?
In that. No, like, you very clearly sound like you're out of it, but still in pain a little bit, so...
Oh.
Yeah, no, like, you definitely sound bad in that episode. As several people have commented. So I'm assuming that's why there were quite a few comments on the episode, but also quite a few comments on Mailbag that were like, "Hey, Lucky, I hope you stop dying."
Yeah, no, I'm not fully recovered, but I'm on my way.
You sound normal anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. Okay.
I mean, you don't sound like you're on death's door, but if I compare you now to then, there's a lot of difference.
Oof.
To be fair, you were super sort of high right at the time, so. I can imagine why you wouldn't think there was anything different.
Like, no, I'm fine.
I'm fine, man. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay, let's keep going.
But we're gonna keep going. So. This next one comes from Gein Whomst Exist 5, The Last Night. Question. Yes, question. Wait, hang on. There's a read more here, I just realized. Now that Lost But 4 is coming soon, I'm kind of sad that we don't have the rest of the Pandava brothers in the game. I just want to Indian pillar my way around FGO with Pandavas plus Karna. Are there any groups in FGO that aren't all together that you want in the game to reunite? Well, yes.
Rangers.
I was about to say the rest of the Knights in the Round and the rest of the Paladins of Charlemagne.
Those are a lot of characters, though, to be fair.
To be fair, but we still don't got all the, well, quote-unquote major ones, I guess I should say.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's quite a few that are named, so, like, they went through the trouble of naming all of the Knights of the Round. For sure, in FGO, so yeah, that's open.
Yeah, but like the Paladins of Charlemagne plus fucking Charlie himself. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck.
There are also similarly, there are a set number of Paladins of Charlemagne, several of whom we've seen who are not in the game. Hi, Roland. Hi, Charles. Excuse me.
Well, we're only missing 2 kings for Raiko, because we got Suna, and Golden has always been there.
Yep.
Golden came out before Raiko. Heck.
Yeah, I think the only reason why we don't already have the other 2 kings, is I talked about this when Lost Belt 5.5 was coming out, is that, as far as I can tell, there's not a lot of mythological background to those guys. We know what their NPs are supposed to be because they're in Raiko's NP, and we know their names, but there's, like, almost no other description of those characters or people, historically or fictionally. They're just those other 2 guys who are with Raiko.
Let's see if are there any more games? Are there any interesting... I guess because that covers the matter of France and the matter of Britain. I don't know if there's any.
I mean, there's also about a bajillion Argonauts.
Yeah, no, that's the thing I was saying. But we got like most of the major ones, I think.
We've got most of the famous ones. The thing about the Argonauts is that it was a cool club, so every mythographer wanted to have their guy be part of the Argo crew. But there's a decent number out there. I mean, Perseus isn't really I'm about to say part of a team.
Yeah, and I don't think Perseus... Was Perseus an Argonaut?
Nope, don't think so.
No. He was
that should be way later.
Like, I'm about to say, like, Perseus is considered, like, one of the big 3, but...
Perseus, founder of Mycenae and the Perseid dynasty. He, alongside Cadmus and Bellerophon, were the greatest Greek hero, slayer of monsters, before the days of Heracles. Yeah, so he's not after, he's before. So he's pre-Herc. Actually, isn't he one of Herc's ancestors? That sounds about right. So, yeah. But also, yes, no, somebody said it perfectly, legendary QP Hunter. The Argonauts were absolutely the Greek Avengers. Everybody wanted to say their guy was an Argonaut.
Listen, I tell this all the time. I mean, don't take your mythology super seriously. It's all fan fiction.
Once again, I love how we do these on a Friday because that's OSB posting day. But speaking of conspiracy ramblings, Red did just post a 30-minute ramble about Loki and how confusing he is, and also curse the Norse for not writing anything fucking down. But like, no, yeah, myths are, I think she says it best in the intro, individual myths are like snapshots. They are pictures of what that writer wanted to capture about that figure. Actual mythology, especially while it's alive, but even now that we're in the future, right, where it's done, is that mythology is actually like a series of images strung together. So you see a lot of really weird character drift. Look at Bacchus as an example. They also did... OSP did a video on Hades and Persephone not too long ago, which actually talks about how Persephone could have been wildly different. Another big one is how Ishtar and Astarte and Aphrodite, and then also Venus are literally all the same goddess.
I literally love how we go from Inanna to fucking Venus.
Yeah,
when I talk to people about, like, that's literally my go-to example when I talk to people about fucking cultural deity drift. It's like...
Also reminding everybody that cultural appropriation has existed since the dawn of time, non nova sub sole, and also has been cool since then.
Actually, there was one before Inanna, but I can't remember. But this was like super proto fucking ones. I can't remember the fucking name of it. Who was it? I don't remember. Listen, Lucky goes on research benders and then he completely forgets everything about it. He only remembers vagaries. But, back to the original thing. Like, yes, there's still plenty of just groups that I want to, but still, I think it's still mostly pulling from probably the matter of France and the matter of Britain. Is there any like Norse boys or Indian boys that I'm thinking about? Actually, we don't really have much in the way of Norse at all. Now that I think about it.
No, we've dodged that one a lot. We've got a couple. It could, be because of some big Prisma energy that we're skipping a couple of major things, but
yeah,
there's some shit out there.
Let's see. Japanese club? I guess that's the Four Kings, but like I said, we don't really have about that.
Also, by the way, you may be thinking of, apparently according to Assyriologists, there may have been a proto-Euphrates deity of the Hurrians called Hanahana.
That might have been her. Yeah.
Who could have been Inanna before being adopted by the more modern, Sumerian.
Yeah, you gotta remember, things before, like, Sumerian culture is really odd because they didn't write shit down! We all we have is idols.
It's either pre-writing or fragmentary. The beautiful, I think actually the cyberpunk novel Snow Crash puts this best. The Sumerians were a civilization of clay. That means that all their buildings have fucking eroded away and fallen down because clay is very soft when you use it to build bricks. But when you fire it and use it to record writing, we have oodles of ancient Sumerian writing about everything. Basically, imagine if instead of sending an email, which is digital and will go away when the great solar flare hits and wipes out all technology, or writing a paper letter that will biodegrade in a few years, you wrote down every little piece of scratch notes and every message you wanted to send to anybody on a piece of fucking clay and fired it so it hardened. That's the Sumerian writing system. It's nuts. And this is why you should write your shit down. Damn you. Write. And ideally write and then translate it into another language so you can figure it out. I'm looking at you, Lydia Ray. Myths are fun, guys.
They are fun. Listen, guys, seriously, just pick like a mythological topic and just start clicking on links and reading. You start clicking on more links, and then you're gonna end up like half a continent away reading some weird thing about some dude who traveled there once and got a weird idea. It's wild. I still won't forgive fucking Marco Polo for what do you call it? Fucking, what do you call Japan? The fucking golden land of what? Topang or something? I don't fucking remember. He was weird. Tanikaku, we're moving on. So thank you very much for that. This next one comes from a mage named Yavers Bodora V. Constil. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that to me? Where are you? Where are you? Hang on.
Oh, you know which one it is. You can find them. They're here.
Is it this guy? Is it this guy? It's you!
It's that one who just said yeah. Now that new one, but that last one. You know whomst it is. How dare.
How dare. What are you trying to do to me? Penalty box. 10 years dungeon.
Also, I gotta say, so that comes from somebody's been sharing a Shinden Maker where you can get a dumb Naziverse mage name, and some people are way too excited about that. And I feel like they're trying to shoehorn us into acknowledging them, and I refuse.
No.
You didn't do any work, a computer did it. Shut up.
Silence. So,
the alias has a second half.
Oh, who took 1,500 quartz for one SSR in the MH banner. That is an oof. That is a hell of an oof. I am sorry. I believe this person jokes that they pulled a lucky, and I'm all like, yes, but no. I don't think I've actually ever spent 1,500 quartz. Usually I'm in the 8 or 6 to 800 range.
I don't remember if you've broken 4 digits before.
No, I think
if
I've
you
hit.
have, you usually get more SSRs than that. They're just not the right one.
Yeah, that's pain. That's pain, Pecco. I have forgiven you. You're released from the dungeon because that just hurts. You hurt yourself. There's nothing more I can do to this man. But they say, shit luck aside, I'm doing well and super happy to hear that Lucky is doing better. Yeah, you are. As always, I hope your future gotcha rolls go well as we either get a 3 and head towards case files and beyond. I do have a slight question, which is, which instance of conceptual weakness in FGO has been your favorite? For example, one could be the Tokugawa weakness to Muramasa blades. Does they come up in the event?
I mean, that was a pretty good meta one.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially since they're basically using the concept of Tokugawa as a fucking meta plot anyway. So it's like, yeah, no, fucking, we're gonna bring it home.
That and also it's a thing they keep reinforcing with Muramasa. Like that's why he was summoned in Shimosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they reference the Muramasa blades in OQ. It's pretty fun.
Well, unfortunately, I don't
come out. I mean, the scene where we attempt to hit Maeve with cheese is very funny.
Yeah.
She's in the shower and it does that weird action shot and then she deflects it, which is now one of her animations. But like, it's pretty, yeah.
Unfortunately, like, I feel like the list of what Servant's actual conceptual weaknesses are pretty low.
We don't use it a lot, but also to be fair, Fate never super used it a lot. Like, everybody likes to be like, oh, because she's got the dragon factor. That means that Artoria would be weak to noble phantasms that are good against dragons. That has never been fucking used once, other than in FGO, which is all mechanics. Like, never has it deliberately been called upon. You can also just use Mordred, whose trait is anti-Arthur. So, yeah.
Let's see. I know Tristan has a conceptual weakness against poison.
They tried to use that in Camelot, but he no-sold because of Grail.
Mm-hmm.
We had to collect a lot of dragon slayers to kill Fafnir in Orleans, but that's not quite the same. Also, Fafnir was just a frickin' dragon.
Rawr.
Gow.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't, like, aside from Tristan, I can't actually think of, like, and aside from the Tokugawa thing, I can't actually think of, like, any servants with, like, clearly defined conceptual
There are
weaknesses.
probably a couple, but we're not thinking of them because this is one of those things that is a Fate truism, but it's very subtly applied.
Well, like, I imagine Quetzalcoatl's conceptual weakness is alcohol, for reasons, but it's never been brought up in play.
I think they've joked about it, but you're right. She's never gotten, like, smashed and fucked anything up.
Yeah. Or fucked anyone. Ho, 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 ho.
I don't know. There was a suspicious cut to black in the Babylonian anime.
But yeah, because that's the thing. A conceptual weakness usually means that a god had to have fucked up, god or hero, usually had to fucked up in some weird way, and it led to their downfall in some sort of tragic or ironic sense.
Some kind of aspect that would be ingrained in their actual thing. So that's not just literally one of Achilles' noble phantasms is his speed heal.
Mm-hmm. Like, I do want to actually put some thought to this and maybe come up with some more probably conceptual weaknesses, but unfortunately, we do not have the time.
It's that timer thing. Somebody actually asked me if I would do this as a teach me. I'm like, we've definitely talked about the underpinnings of a servant. I don't think it's got the full bullet points for a teach me, but we could definitely do this as a faff topic some other time.
Yeah. So we'll put a pin in that. So thank you for the question. I do think it's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, we're on a timer, so we have to move on. So thank you very much. We will move on. This next one comes from feeling sympathy for the devil and seeing Beauty and the Beast. They say, after seeing Kama bawling her eyes out and hardcore self-deprecating when her plans failed, I started feeling really bad for her. I know that she brought this on herself, and I would never say she did nothing wrong, but seeing all that, her insult and smugness feel hollow, and I kind of want to encourage her to think better of herself. How much of the smug, cynical comment do you think is just a front to deal with her self-loathing, and how much do you think is genuine? If this is too much of a headcanon question, feel free to throw it out and roast me. Good luck in future roles and take care. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think it's too much of a headcanon, because
what you're doing is you're and we will definitely talk about Kama later. I think that's what Lucky was about to get to. But you are analyzing a character as they appear in media. That's not inherently headcanon. You are like, no. I look. At first, I saw Kama's writing and was like this, but then I got later and was like this. That's pretty basic character dev 101.
So, I'm going to say, like, for my part, I'm going to say it is a front, but not a front. Kama is 100, like, honestly, that fucking that picture of comment you posted earlier with about nihilism.
Yeah.
That's so fucking accurate because but the thing is it's not necessarily either, it's both. Kama is just so done and hates things so much, he's just like, well, fuck everything. It's literally nihilism.
Yeah, so this is, I retweeted it so you can dig it up, but it's a kind of meme draw image that says nihilism or Kama's daily mood swings. So it's like stereotype. Nothing in life matters. It's Kama crying at the bar with a picture of Rati, who is Kamadeva's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And actually very important in that. This is a thing that I find funny that FGO never touched on, but in the actual Indian mythology, there's a pretty big myth cycle about how Kamadeva got reincarnated as another dude. That would be funny for later. But the reality is, Kama drinking a monster, wearing sunglasses, flipping the bird, saying nothing in life matters, with an exclamation point this time. So it's like, no, yeah, those are absolutely both Kama's character. She ping-pongs between both and also lots of other stuff.
Mm. But again, like, if you're feeling empathy towards Kama, like, or sympathy even, like, don't, that's fine. It's fucking fine, my dude. Like, Kama's a villain, but villains...
I mean, to say this, writing-wise, you don't write the ending of OQ, the ending and also the epilogue after, which is another important thing to keep in kind of context.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you don't write those and have Redrop draw those scenes if you don't want them to have meaning.
Yeah. There's 4 of them! Jesus!
Mm-hmm.
No, so... The best way I can think of it is Kama is someone who just got so sick of the lot they are given in life, they decided to do something extreme about it. And while Kama had to be stopped for various reasons, I won't necessarily fault them from trying to do something about it. Because Kama is a god, and gods are kind of bound to what they are. It's,
And also, it should be explicitly noted, unlike a lot of other possessions, Kama literally has no body.
No.
Shiva blew Kama the fuck up and basically made Kama a cosmic space force, talking about agape, unconditional love. Literally, this was foreshadowed with one of Parvati's skills, which is called Ashes of Kama.
Yeah, no. So, Kama starts off with a really big fucking chip on her shoulder. A really... Like, well, I can say, like, I'll save these thoughts for our actual talk, because actually...
This story, like lots of other these events, is a full-blown intro to Kama. It is a complete character arc for her. We'll talk about it, because like I said, I could go on and on about how it's also important to remember the epilogue when giant Lady Kiara is literally holding Kama in her hand, and they have not really a heart-to-heart, but they have a slight evil powwow.
Yeah.
Which, once again, recontextualizes, because once she gets over her initial emotional embarrassment, for lack of a better term, she just goes back to being like, oh, hey, what's up, R? You gonna eat me or something? Whatever. Like, Kama is definitely self-effacing. That said, I do think that, think about fake it till you make it. I do think that because Kama has moods, right? When she turns on the glowing eyes and she tries really hard to be like, haha, I'm an evil bitch. That's her, like, faking it until she's making it. She's, like, actually being like, no, I am evil. I'm super evil. I'm cool. And then you literally throw her into space, and she's just like, I'm blasting off again.
And she just talks about how she just wanted to escape this life. She didn't want to be the god of love anymore. She didn't want to be blamed for everything that goes bad, So no, like, again, I'm gonna double down on this. Like, feel bad for Kama. Just because she's a villain doesn't mean that you can't feel sorry for them or want better for them. Heck, fuck, redemption stories are generally, like, my fucking favorite stories is when you understand the villain and you want them to be better in their life for whatever reason.
There are a lot of very powerful and very popular narratives about that.
Yeah.
But also, that's absolutely not to say that after OQ, Kama didn't have to sit in the corner of the room with, like, a bucket of water on her head and, like, think about what she'd done and all the trouble she caused.
Yeah, no. I might have put her in a get-along shirt with Kiara.
Oh.
But no, it's like, fuck, to call this back, it's interesting enough, it's kind of the Heaven Feels mood too, as well. It's literally the Heaven Feel mood. Shiro, knows Sakura is villain, but he's gonna save her anyway, even if he has to sacrifice everything to do it. Because,
that Sakura needs a hero, and he's gonna be a cool guy.
Yeah. And like I said, again, interesting parallel, because guess what? Despite Like I said, I got my Bond 5 Kama. Despite of everything she said, Kama, I do believe, is genuinely into you. Genuinely. Not Kiara into you, which is kind of scary. But, yeah, no. But still, don't do the deal with her. She'll eat you, probably still. Just saying. Don't sleep with a beast!
I mean, there's also definitely something to be said for, like, you gotta watch out for the Kama love beams and just be like, hey, like, much like you could bamboozle Kiara, you could absolutely just bamboozle Kama and be like, hey, you think you're being cute right now, and you are, but also, I'm not gonna fall for that, haha. And Kama's just like, well, just somebody redraw me that shrug meme, but with Kama, that is just her life. Kama shrug.
Kama shrug.
Let's keep going.
So yeah, we'll definitely talk more about Kama in the upcoming
We have quite a
segment.
few characters and story tropes to unpack about OQ. Soon.
Yeah, soon.
We gotta be close, even if we're pausing, we gotta be close to the time we're running out. We've been going for almost an hour 45.
Yeah, we got 7:30. So let's knock some out.
Okay.
So thank you very much for that. This next one comes from Secret Casino King Bun Bun, who says, glad to hear that you, Lucky, have recovered enough to function without drugs, liquid bread, or Russian water.
Da.
Yeah. Duh. Nope, there's no read more, so that's it. Okay, thank you very much. I have indeed recovered greatly. But we move on. This one comes from the Dragon King, who says, I've noticed we've only defeated beasts without really killing or get rid of them. Like, at the end of the last event when Kiara and Kama were talking, I think that was still, when Kiara and Kama were talking, I think that was still there. Spelled, in the break there. They're beast forms and not their servant forms. I wonder why they're being kept around. Do you think they'll be allies or enemies in the future? Glad they seem to be doing a little better, Lucky. Yes, it is. Now, so, first off, you gotta remember, both Kiara and Kama did not fully mature. Kama came pretty close. She got further than Kiara did, if I remember correctly. I mean, remember, they're only two halves of one whole. So, they're kind of weird. They can't combine into a super beast.
By the way, I do love that they actually make sure to call that out in there, and we're like, no, we can't, like, a lot of people were like, Kiara's gonna betray us. She'll team up with the other. No, that's not how it works. They really don't get along. But, they are immature beasts.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, here's an interesting thing. Beasts have independent manifestation. This means that generally, they are immune to instant death or paradox effects. You can't just hack them out of existence because they have really strong anchors that go against the counterforce, basically. This is why to defeat Tiamat, we had to
impart the concept of death.
Yeah, we had to put her in the underworld and impart her the concept of death. We had to basically damage her independent manifestation so she could be killed. Which is to say, she was probably quote-unquote killed at the end of Babylonia. Obviously, we didn't go quite as intense on, like, the story screenshots and stuff, but she got blasted with Enema Elish. It's a pretty big deal. She was in the underworld. She's probably dead. Now, her body probably went back to the Sea of Imaginary Numbers afterward, because that's where she came from in the first place, so we don't know, but, she definitely died of a sort, because underworld.
I could say it was maybe an incarnation or avatar. I mean, like...
Because she did have the separate bodies.
Yeah. Femme
Fatale was supposed to be her brain, but was very much not actually the main body, because her kaiju body came out later, after that. With Gatia is technically, like, 72 of those motherfuckers, so some of them definitely lived past that first run there. They escaped. Well, whether Gatia himself as, pillar number 1 or number 0, whatever that works out, actually got away, we'll see. That's something that's definitely a possibility out of several before us as the plot is presented, but we'll have to see how that works out. I mean, technically, we never, like, murder kill him.
Well, also, I'm gonna bring this up because, as I said, wording's important. Remember, Gilgamesh phrases the beast as something that humanity must overcome and defeat. Not necessarily kill and obliterate, because they represent sins that humanity can never get rid of.
Yeah, we should overcome them, but we do not. I'm pretty sure if that's being translated, there are actually a decent selection of Japanese verbs which would do this. Like, what is it like? I think something like Taos is to defeat, whereas, Shin is to kill.
Yeah.
Or Koros. There's a couple of different verbs involving murder, funnily enough. You may have learned this from anime, but there's a wide selection of variable translations, so I'm pretty sure, yes, that Gil says that we need to defeat them. Well, so somebody in chat raised a good point. Technically, in a bad future timeline, Kiara got ahead. because she totally won. But then Melt broke the speed of light and went back and didn't that time. That said, I did actually want to reference that. That also means that absolutely technically no, that is not. We don't really see Beast Kiara per se in the end of OQ because she would not be floating in a space that's inside the OQ. That's not how that works. She was last seen in a alternate timeline plummeting towards the bottom of the ocean and evaporating into sea foam, which she definitely did, because if she was whole when she got to the bottom, we'd lose anyway.
Yeah.
So, no, that's
a Little Mermaid reference I just realized.
Yeah. No, the references are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful sequence, very important.
Very important.
But no, absolutely that version of Kiara was destroyed. The one we summoned is basically her alter ego. It's her wish at that moment to be like, what if I could do it again, basically. If I was born again as an alter ego, I'd do things differently, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's playing the long game now.
Yeah. And you could argue that because of her beastly powers, she would still be able to use her independent whatchamacallit to manifest that way, but that is definitely, as an alter ego, she is a separate instance. Now, Kama, interestingly enough, is not an alter ego. She's an assassin, even though her main class should definitely be archer. And the funny thing we talk about with Kama is that technically the actual Kama Deva parts are limitless. You know, the whole I am a universe thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could do it. But also, Kama seems like she has to, like, keep her brain all in one place, otherwise she gets a little weird, because, one, the Kama Shadow clones you fight in OQ are pretty chump change compared to actual Beast Kama. Even the clones she summons in that fight are obviously smaller and weaker. You could argue that's for gameplay, but they could totally have done a thing where, like, they evenly split the HP or whatever between them.
Mm-hmm.
And she even comments when having that conversation with Kiara, when Kiara's literally turned a giant and got her in the palm of her hand, because Kiara did go beast mode. She used Goddess Metamorphosis, one of her skills, to undo her limits and exceed her Saint Graph for a little bit so that she could pop in and be like, no. She turned into that giant fist you see in Hans's new animations occasionally and just booped Kama on the snoot very briefly.
I feel like this is actually making parallels to the Buddha.
Oh, I'm sure. Remember, Kiara is the demonic bodhisattva.
Yeah.
Got the whole universe in her hand. 5 Buddhist element mountain.
Yeah. And that makes it at this point, in that point in time, she was one with the universe, and to grab Kama, who was also the universe, and put her into the palm of her hand. It's nuts. Listen, it's fucking nuts to think about, guys. You really don't understand.
And also, absolutely, Nasu would know that. Not just because that was a thing in Journey to the West in the prologue.
Oh, God.
But also, like, just he knows Buddhist stuff. But the thing there is also, Kama makes sure to point out that, like, technically, we're still inside the OQ, which is still her singularity, her universe. You know, we're still in space. She even talks about how the sun is actually simulated, which is Kiara. Gives her a little titter about it, where it's like, oh, so you were gonna, it was your choice to be Dragon Ball Z'd, to be shot by a Kamehameha wave into the sun and explode.
Again, note our earlier part about Kama being actually a very, very sad person.
Yes, her self-deprecation. But Kama still makes sure to point out that she's like, even though I'm sitting in the palm of her hand, you know that I'm technically still the universe here, right? Yeah, there's comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
Nasu does know stuff. Also, by the way, if you want your fun parallels, the two halves are inseparable. Kiara goes down, Kama goes up. It's also very interesting. While Kiara is also super upset, it's more that, like, basically she's edging.
Yeah.
She's, like, really close to the climax, metaphorically and probably physically. But
yeah.
And so, like, she's happy but also very disappointed because she doesn't get to finish. Whereas Kama is, like, flying up into space and, like, actually finally loses her shit for real. Like, even when Kasuga's her, she's just like, what? Kama of what emote? When? But she's just bamboozled. She doesn't actually, like, start bawling like a baby. I got big Konosuba vibes, by the way, from this.
I think I'm pretty sure I have seen a Kama fucking Aqua edit. I am pretty damn sure.
Yes. I know a lot of people make jokes about Ishtar as the useless goddess, but I feel like as a character archetype, Kama embodies that much more.
I wouldn't say necessarily. I feel like, again, like, we're talking about this later, but I feel like this breakdown is literally the catharsis fucking Kama needed to get over herself a
and
little
then
bit,
as she floats through space, like the end of JoJo Part 2, then she has that conversation with Kiara. So, like I said, it's...
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, that was a singularity. It was self-contained. Once the Grail Core is removed, it goes away. We all got unsummoned. So, while possible for them to access their beastly powers, though I would like to point out that I don't...
Yeah.
Does Servant Kama have independent manifestation?
I believe she does. I think it's one of her passives. I shall check.
Everybody should be super sus about that. And honestly, I do believe people were sus. That said, I think I talked about this and wanted to skirt the question.
By the way, she has independent manifestation C.
Okay, yeah. Which I think is one higher than Kiara's degraded rank. I think Kiara's degraded rank is D.
I shall check again.
While Lucky is checking, though, I threw this out as a possibility in the Wanted. It is noted that independent manifestation is not automatically a beast code word. Both Merlin and Void Shiki have it for meta hacks reasons.
Kiara has... Interesting. Kiara has authority of the beast D, but independent manifestation E.
So she's down several ranks, yeah. Kiara, I don't know if it was by her choice or just the virtue of being summoned as an alter ego, but her beast levels are super degraded. Like, her skills are ranked down several times. Her beast authority was like A+, I think, as...
I feel like this is on part of her vow of abstinence, of her holding herself back.
I expect, especially because Kama does have C, and, again, to call forward to that conversation, Kama's decision is not really to hold... it is to play the long game. It's not necessarily to hold back the same way Kiara is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that Kiara has a conversation and she's like, yo, hey, sister from another mister. I see what you did there. It's very cool, very great. Nice try. Now that you've, I'm gonna just, because I'm a sadomasochist, I'm just gonna make sure to pluck that string of fate so you can get summoned by the Chaldea Master.
There it is.
Yep, that's a good one. Because, I mean, that's the ultimate Kiara punish, right? The ultimate Kiara punisher is she's gonna be like, hey, Kama, you know all that Chaldea you hate and that guy who beat you up? You could get summoned. But then she's like, but also riddle me this, Kama. What if you played the long game? And Kama's basically like, you're right. I could play the long game. My version of the long game is not the same as yours, but I could be subtle. I could roll it back. And she does. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I have... Man, we just keep...
Listen, you said this earlier. People are asking about Ooku.
Yeah.
I'm talking. All right, let's get to probably your last question, if that wasn't it.
I paused at 1:04, so speed round. Here we go. So thank you very much for that. This next one, I lost my place. Here we go. This next one comes from the Bunch of Future Simp, who says, Dear Lucky Omega, now that we have come on the global server, I was wondering, do you always use final ascension sprites of a server, or are there any that you prefer one of their earlier sprites? Personally, I use Tomo's second battle sprite because I like the animations better. Thank you. Keep up the good work. P.S. I hope Lucky's feeling better. I like normal Lucky better than drug Lucky. Apparently, I was pretty bad. No, Lucky usually stays at final extensions for all of them. You know, it's their most powerful form. Omega, thoughts?
So I don't always change I always leave it on the final ascension artwork. There are a couple of servants I have at lower ones, but I can't name their names right off the top of my head because we're speedrounding.
Right. So thank you very much for that. This next one comes from Gahulian God, who says, in the 5th floor of the Ooku, there is this room that was meant to be shaped as a manji symbol, but strangely shaped in order to avoid implications. Yeah, I bet. Also, a question I had last week, but are you familiar with the puppet series Thunderbolt Fantasy? Yes. I asked because on April's Fool's Day, they had a legitimate 5-minute crossover with FGO, and doing so created a fully functioning Artoria puppet. Yes, I did see it. It was pretty cool.
That is also the timer going off, but also, double fun fact reversal, playing my Uno reverse card. Did you know that Thunderbolt Fantasy is produced in part by the one, the only Genorobuchi, the Ura Butcher? No. Actually, it's funny. You can. I think Thunderbolt Fantasy was the thing that finally got him out of his slump of only writing super mega goth death. Because I do believe I haven't actually sat down and watched any of it myself. I should sometime because it's super cool. I've seen the clips. But while it's not afraid to murder puppets, ironically, Thunderbolt is definitely like more of a highfalutin fantasy series than a lot of other stuff that Urobuchi has done. And then he eventually wrote Lost Belt 3, which isn't actually that depressing. He wrote it because he loves China so much. Lucky, is Genorobuchi just Dallas?
No, because Genorobuchi can actually write and probably speak properly.
That's true. He can. Well, you never know. It could be editors. We don't know.
We don't know.
That's okay. I think that's that might be on the episode that went out today of Yu-Gi-Oh! I talked about how Dallas cannot see, hear, or speak evil. Because he can't do those things.
I like how the chat is just going, shit! Sensu bean!
I think the chat has seen Dallas go full blast enough times in their life that to see him get that side shot there, they were ready.
They were ready. But anyway, yes, no, the timer has run out. There was...
Also, to be fair, Dallas has said, in case anybody is curious, he literally plays a huge heel on Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, it's a big deal.
Also, I'm not afraid of roasting Dallas. Dallas can take it on the chin. I can roast Dallas. He'll be like, yeah.
That's fair. Dallas 2021. That's fair.
But yeah, we didn't get to 4 of y'all. I'm sorry.
Listen, we had less questions. Y'all asked some meaty ones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, listen, Lucky has big thoughts about fucking Kama and Ooku as a whole.
Yeah, we're just gonna transition straight into Ooku Final Thoughts. Robin, time step here. Right now. No, like, we didn't get a chance last week because Lucky was dead to actually get out our Ooku Final Thoughts, so now we're basically getting them out right now. So that's why we had Chunky Mailbag, and now why we're going into Ooku. So Ooku happened. It was a very story-relevant event for a lot of reasons, some of which will become more clear later. Mm-hmm. It was a big character-building event, not just for Kama, but also for Kasuga, as I mentioned earlier. That was one of the most ham-fisted FGO please summon this servant later teases ever. Like, I honestly genuinely cannot imagine that Kasuga will not eventually show up as summonable.
Like, well, honestly, they didn't even have to do the ham-fisted, maybe something. I think they put it in there just so they can reassure players that maybe she will be summoner because, oh man, do I love Kasuga. Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, she's a great character. Like we said, the journey through the Ooku, which is a literal journey, it's a literal progression through the floors, and then you progress again, because it's funny. After Kiara turns into a giant woman and throws you up 5 flights of stairs. Don't ask me how that works. I don't think she necessarily cannot... The sprites didn't necessarily indicate she turned giant, but also she's giant later, so I assume she turned into a giant woman and threw you. Because it's funny.
She had to release some sort of power.
Yeah. But no, so, like, this is a literal character journey for Kasuga and Kama, mainly. Mm-hmm. But also, as somebody is pointing out in chat, it does a lot of work for servants we don't see a lot. Parvati hasn't been in the main story since her trial quest. Munenori, he shows up a lot as like a slight touch, but he definitely wasn't a major story character since Shimosa, where also they did do kind of the weird flip-flop thing.
Well, honestly, I'm okay with Munenori not getting a lot because I have a Munenori and I did his interlude, which is actually really good for him.
Yeah, I'm sure they do the classic character building. He also just his character archetype. He's samurai. That's he's kind of his thing. He's a
solid stoic man.
So yeah, no, like there's only so much you can do with that in a thing, but it's good to at least have him featured, right? To have him show up, and he does a lot of adds a certain element that's very important.
Yeah, he's now a cool old man.
Has Matahari actually been in the story ever?
She not in the story,
was
but
she in Rome? Did they shoehorn her into Septum? We're just posting Senzu Bean gifts now. I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember.
I remember she was in the first Halloween. That's about it.
Yeah, she was a supporting character in Halloween, but like she is absolutely an super underutilized launch servant. So it was really great to have her show up and to have her do a lot of really interesting mechanical stuff, like with her NP. How do you get around being drunk? Hypnosis. Like they actually play around with her NP, which is super bullshit. Similarly, they talk about her espionage ability. They're like, oh, I could sneak up and steal those with my skills. Mm-hmm. Like they do a lot. Similarly, they do a lot mechanically for Scheherazade. This is her first major appearance as a supporting character outside of her interlude, which, while it also does a shitload for her character, is fucking long. I really like her interlude, but also, holy shit, it's like 8 pips. Damn, dude. But Scheherazade left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths after Agartha. Some people are still irrationally butthurt about it.
Irrationally. Double down on that irrationally bit.
Listen, I've seen some interesting back and forth conversations about liking certain characters. Like, there are some characters I will never stan, and I mean, I don't want to like yell too much about certain people. There are definitely some like negative responses people have to certain characters that are very visceral and a little intense. Scheherazade is one of them. Some people took that really poorly. Like I gotta be real, guys. Even though she didn't even really talk shit about Romani. She was just like, that was a cool thing he did. And we're just like, it really wasn't, though. But me, as a real person, I was like, but I could see why you, Scheherazade, right now would think that. But, like, this does a lot because it one, shows her character growth as part of Team Chaldea, but also, again, she does lots of interesting stuff with her abilities in the narrative.
Literally telling stories, and literally, what's the term I want to use? I don't want necessarily, almost hypnosis, basically.
Well, she can use her storytelling a couple of times. Also, by the way, fun thematic thing. I would like to point out the thing they do with Lady Kasuga. That's usually what Hans does with his NP to his master.
Oh,
the story just for you. Like when you fight Kiara in CCC, you fight Kiara. Hans doesn't do anything. He sits back and buffs her. It's actually a theory. It's a fake out. I want to say in the CCC game where it's like, oh shit. This little man is the master. No, he's actually the servant. He just buffs Kiara with his story NP. So that's actually a fun thematic parallel that Scheherazade uses the Thousand Nights the same way. I was going to attempt to say the Arabic name, and then I stopped myself because I knew it wouldn't go well.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But also, as you said, she not just doing the kind of cool self-suggestion stuff, the powering up with her storytelling, but also she amps up and uses her storytelling's other ability to summon the fucking 40 thieves from Alibaba and has them steal shit because they're bandits, they're banditos, and they're good at it.
Yeah, basically every time you need to steal something, just like, I have a story for this.
Similarly, she pulls out the flying carpet. She summons at least one djinn to help you out a couple of times. You know, they do a lot in just the narrative to show off how flexible those two supporting servants are.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Parvati exists not only to carry Kasuga, but at the end to get in the final shot. The super irony against Kama.
Well, honestly, I think like Parvati, Kasuga, and Kama are all there to represent different types of love. Personally,
there's that. Yeah, they're thematical.
Yeah, they're thematical.
But also, Parvati is directly there because she talks about this. She was late to the party and called forth by the counter, not necessarily by the counterforce, but probably selected by Chaldea to be the counteractor to Kama. Like, at first she was like, hey, Kama, I gotta know, did you, like, bring me here specifically to fuck with me? And Kama's like, Kama takes it as like, oh my god, Parvati, you're such an airhead, you're so self-centered, you think this is about you. And Parvati's actually like, no, actually, I was just double-checking, because that means that if I'm here, and you didn't put it that way, something else put it that way, so I'm here to clap those cheeks. And then she does. In a great moment in the end where she's like, there's lots of kinds of love in this world, and there's one person I love the most. My super wonderful husband. Shiva Beam, go.
There's a conceptual weakness for you.
Shiva Beam, go! And then Kama's like, this hurts. This is literally the worst. This is the exact same. Damn it. Fuck. And then she gets blasted to space.
Yeah, no. Because that's what I mean. Like, they like different like types of love. Like, Parvati you can see as representing the love one has to, like, you know, their husband, romantic love and whatnot. Kasuga can represent love for, you know, like, family and friends and whatnot, and, you know, how she like treats you, talks about her charges and all that stuff, while Kama can represent the more negative aspect of that, and, you know, lust, desire, and, you know, maybe, you know, that more primitive.
Also, she deliberately talks about how she's trying to subvert cosmic love.
Yeah, that's
supposed to be the coolest and most pure love, and Kama's like, hey, I'm space love, and it's really bad. Wahaha.
Wahaha.
Because they do she does a fucking syndrome. It's just the Incredibles plot. If everybody has love, nobody will have love.
Yeah, no, well. And this is one of those points where I started thinking that Kama is just actually very, very sad, done child inside. Because they talk about, like thinking about this, how fucking done are you with life if well, unfortunately, I have to kind of probably agree with fucking Kama on this one. Parvati's kind of a love-struck airhead.
I mean, yeah. And especially when they met in their narrative, yes, because I think somebody even said in one of the comments, I believe this was actually in the point in the myth cycle that Shiva and Parvati weren't married yet, which is why they had to arrange this with the god of love.
Yeah. And so...
That said, I also do want to throw out, I do think this is one of those FGO things to make the themes funnier. They they did, especially they focused on Parvati and Kama. Really, it's all Indra's fault. Because Indra is like, yo, Kamadeva, shoot that man.
Yeah.
As Indra is getting his ass kicked by a Rakshasa or something, he's like, Kamadeva, fix this.
But I'll put it in FGO terms, I suppose. But you're gotta love this. All these people and this love-struck, this love-struck maiden wants you to shoot a super powerful dude so he'll get up and bone his girlfriend. And you're like, and no one comes to think, maybe isn't that a bad idea? It's like, no, shoot him. And so Kama goes, okay, shoots him and then gets immediately incinerated for, trying to do a good thing. That, I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely leave a bad taste in my mouth about, being the god of love and whatnot. Like, if you do a good thing and are punished for it, why would you do that thing?
I mean, yeah, no. Like, Kamadeva is like, I was literally doing my job, Indra asked me, and then Shiva blew me the fuck up. And
so on that point, it's like, no, come on, I understand. You got a fucking raw deal. If you're mad, you like, be fucking mad.
And again, this is the interesting thing. I brought this up earlier. The next major myth about Kamadeva is that not only does Parvati be like, okay, Shiva, cool, can you not have blown up Kama? That seems kind of bad. And Shiva's like, okay, hold on, let me fix this. I am a super powerful deity. What will I do? I will make it so that Kama didn't die. I can't unmake the fact that I totally destroyed Kama's body, but Kama can be alive and be everywhere as Kamadeva, the spirit of love everywhere. Now you don't even need your body or arrows to do your thing, Kama. I made your job 10,000 times easier. Cool, bye.
No, you didn't.
But, no, like, because here's another thing. I talked about this in the image joke, but this is something also not brought up in FGO, probably for reasons, though it would be fucking hilarious. Kamadeva is canonically a dude, and yes. I think that might actually be mentioned somewhere in Kama's profile.
It is.
But also, not only is Kamadeva a dude, he's fucking married. He has a wife called Rati. And Rati is associated usually with sexual desire, a lot like Aphrodite is. Like, I talked about this a lot in The Wanted, but if you want to get into the philosophical thing, the actual concept of Kamadeva originally is just the concept of desire. Kama itself, desire, is one of the things you need in life. It's like their version of Maslow's hierarchy. Like, you need, like, self-actualization, you need desire, etc. Like, you need to have motivations to live, right? I think one of the things you need is, like, justice as well. But, so, Kamadeva is actually really important. That's why the fact that Shiva makes Kamadeva a force that can still do Kamadeva things is kind of important. But they totally leave off that, Rati's actually quite upset that her husband got nuked, and she goes wandering around until she finds Kamadeva's reincarnation and, like, helps him through his own hero's journey, because he's just a dude. And then, like, she creates a new avatar of herself, and they get married again. Like, it's a whole cycle thing. Which is something that the FGO version doesn't really touch on. Instead, it goes for a, at least as far as I was able to research, a very tentative connection to Mara, which I think may also be related to future stuff, because we did talk about, this is one of Parvati's postscript things, where she's like, I wonder why Kamamara was so Mara-y. That probably means something bad happened. I wonder if something's going on in the Indian Lost Belt, where you're going next. I mean, I assume it's kind of like, because if she wants to be a beast, they have to skip that part of the complete arc acts, right? Like, if you have a complete character arc, you can't do the whatchamacallit, the evil of humanity thing.
So I'm reading about Rati right now, and I'm just laughing at a detailed description of her body, filled with similes praising her fair complexion, her eyes, her face, her plump breasts, her hair, her arms, her legs, her thighs, and her glowing skin. Apparently she's a fucking looker.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think it makes more, like, especially because Kiara is the demonic bodhisattva, right? Again, drawing those parallels to make Kama also Mara. Right? Like, it's very interesting. Well, and I'll say this. The other thing that's important to note is that technically, that person who's the reincarnation, that's still a new dude, right? That's not, that's Kamadeva born again. That's not Kamadeva. So, like, in FGO terms, I mean, Siegfried and Sigurd are different dudes, so... Yeah. It's entirely possible that that's a theme they're going for, where, like, no, this is the cosmic space comma still exists, and out there in cosmic space, he, she, it, they found a dark sakura body to ride in, but also B, what was connected to Mara. Again, this is one of those things where I'm like, I don't really know why exactly that came about, other than to further our cool parallels and stuff. Because while Mara is the demon who is the king of desire and the great enemy of Buddhism, which again just makes it very funny for Kiara, right?
All right.
I didn't actually find any direct synchronization that Kamadeva was Mara. In FGO, they're like, nah, Mara is a different aspect of Kamadeva, and also canonically, those three beautiful women who showed up to the Bodhisattva were also Kamamara, and it all goes together. I mean, yeah, Axe, like, what do you want? You phrase that like you're throwing a stone, and I'm like, what do you want? You want nothing? You want nothing to exist? Why are you breaking the glass house? Also, yes, this is another great joke. Technically, as Mara is the actual Dairoku Tenmao, the demon king of Sixth Heaven. It's very
There's a line about that. There's a line about that.
But also, to put that in perspective, that's what people were calling Nobunaga. They were like, Nobunaga, you're literally Satan. You're literally Buddha Satan. And Nobunaga was like, ha ha, that's great. I'm going to use that. I'm going to put that on my business card. And people were like, no, Nobunaga, no! And Nobunaga's like, ha ha, muskets go burr.
Honestly, looking at it, Mara doesn't actually have a lot of going on.
Mara's very, from my I admit, not a Buddhist, not super up on Buddhist theology. Mara's very general. Buddhism is a lot more philosophical and cosmological than like hardcore mythologizing.
It's like it brings it like from what I'm understanding, Mara is supposed to represent, temptation.
Yeah, Mara tried to tempt the Buddha from nirvana, and Mara generally represents the antagonistic forces, like it's all the earthly things that are keeping you back. And like I said, I did actually find that I don't remember the exact word, but it does involve the name check of Kama. In some texts, Mara is the ruler of the Kama realm, the desire realm, the world. So, like, there's something to be said there for like easy linguistic parallels that Nasu can make independently, but they are not, as far as I can tell, actually supported in any major syncretic texts.
I'm pretty sure Nasu was like, all right, so if we ignore the back half of Kama's story, we just have a dude who got blown up, who might be a little pissed off that. Mm-hmm. And maybe we can slap something on top of that? Who else is, might have some evil love energy? Oh, Mara, they're in the same ballpark. You just glue that together. There's
definitely some language links there I can play with, and then Nasu rolled from there.
Yeah. So again, I'm not really gonna necessarily throw stones about it. Fuck, no. Like I said, we were literally just talking about cultural deity drift and whatnot.
Oh yeah, no, like it's perfectly a legit like remix thing. And like I said, definitely in servant terms, the second Kamadeva would be a new guy, would be a new Saint Graph.
I don't think Kama's necessarily petty, Loth.
I mean, Kama is a little bit petty.
A little bit petty.
They were just discussing this in the conversation. She sets up the whole thing that we're her first victim just so she can be better than the other Beast 3. Like, she could have arranged her plot to function other ways, but like she specifically set it up to bamboozle us because she wanted to be cooler than Kiara.
I can't use Loth as an example, but I was about to say, if you had if you had a twin or something and you were constantly compared, wouldn't you want to be better than them?
All right, okay, all right. Hold on, I gotta introduce a new OQ concept. So a lot of people keep talking about the Shiva destroys the universe or Kama is the universe thing. Okay, guys. All right. Follow me on this. Your FGO, your audience, Japanese and English, probably have no fucking idea who Kamadeva is, because while it is a fairly common Hindu myth, it's still pretty limited. Like I said, Kamadeva basically has two big stories. Getting blown up by Shiva, becoming a new dude. Mm-hmm. Basically, if you're writing FGO, and you need to explain how that happened, how Kama can be here, be a cosmic space force, etc., you have to explain that in the body of the text. The way Nasu chose to wrote that is basically playing to the themes of how divinity and authority work. Basically, this is a thing that's actually mentioned. Deities are more restricted the more authorities they have, and This is something Kingu actually at the time, but pretending to be Enkidu, talks about how deities can get really irrational and weird if they have a lot of contradictory authorities pulling them in different directions. So, because Shiva has the authority of the Destroyer, literally Shiva's full power is to destroy the universe, and it is explicitly said in both in FGO and I believe in the original myth text, when Shiva opens his third eye when struck by the arrow, he's just minding his own business. He goes full blast. He gives Kama 100% beans, okay? Kama is literally blown the fuck out of reality. FGO chooses to describe this as like, oh, as a function of Shiva's authority being applied, because Shiva's power is to destroy the universe, and Kama was destroyed by Shiva, therefore Kama is thematically linked with the universe. You probably could have written or translated that a little bit cleaner to say that Kama deliberately chose to make herself the universe.
Well, I'm personally put more in the favor of that Kama eventually became a cosmic force that permits throughout the entire
the problem
universe.
is that that's not what the line says. People are very, very, very hung up on the specific wording of this line, which is what I want to throw out there. But also, yes, that is actually, and I do think I think Parvati does mention that earlier, like, you know, Kama is possessing a body, Kama was turned into a cosmic force. And like I said, there's an important thing in Fate in general about both having things conceptually applied to you and also choosing to conceptually apply things to yourself. So I would argue that Kama chose to apply the connection that, like, hey, I am space now. Because that sure sounds like what she's doing in the bottom floor of the Ooku. She's like, sup, I'm space. I'm the universe, dog. And then I think Parvati says the line, or that might be after you got Kama's back, so it might be Sion or Mash who does, but basically be like, wait a minute, because authority is the strongest, that means that this becomes this. If it was Sion who said it, I wouldn't be surprised that it was deliberately phrased that way. Sion is kind of a magic science nerd. She tends to think of things like this in equations. It's just, several people in the chat have brought this up while we've been having this discussion, and I'm just like, okay, guys, calm down. Don't
overthink it.
Yeah, you're a little... Okay, so Scheherazade said it? Well, I don't know what Scheherazade knows. Scheherazade is talking about a reference from storytelling, so that would be, like, linking the concepts. That would be, actually, that sounds very meta then if Scheherazade says it, if the storyteller says it. It's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Well,
the author type character is the one who explains the authorial intent bit. That's funny.
Hey, I would say it's on theme.
Mm-hmm. It's very on theme, but also very funny. So yeah, I just, and not just the people in chat, but also I've been seeing this a lot since this came out. A lot of people have been screen capping. It's the classic Fate. People die when they are killed again. I mean, like, yes, it's probably a very literal translation of a very esoteric concept, but I think the line exists primarily because Nasu needs to explain to his readership, and the translators need to explain to their readership how the fuck this works, right? Yeah. It just came across as very funny. Like, it's just like when in the original Fate Stay Night adaptation, Shiro says people die when they are killed. They're like, what he's saying is that people should stay dead when they are killed. This is another thing talking about verbs. When he's saying that when you murder somebody or when death occurs to a person, they should stay dead. Because he's got Avalon at the time, and he's not staying dead when he gets killed. Similarly, the other famous one, which is actually just a really good line that he says in Unlimited Blade Works, is just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Which is actually just a grammatically appropriate sentence.
It is.
Right and correctness do not mean the same things in our language, nor do they necessarily mean the same things in Japanese. He is talking about Emiya being factually correct versus being ethically and morally in the right. So, again, don't take it too literally. It's probably not meant that way. It's just sometimes Japanese is a very clunky language to translate.
And again, guys, this is the Nasuverse, man. We make some fucking weird ass leaps constantly. I
love my weird Nasuverse leaps.
Yeah,
but hey,
I do too.
Remember how Adelante is a cat girl because she got turned into a lioness? She's not just a lioness, no, but she's a cat girl.
No, she got turned into a lioness and pulls. Is it Cybele? Kybel's chariot, I believe it is. Yeah. So clearly, that means Adelante should have riding. Pull chariots. No, she turns into a boar.
God, that isn't old. That's got to be like 2 years old. Because that's me with a Space Ishtar avatar.
Super Omega Rose? Yeah, probably.
It's Super Omega Rose. How dare you?
Well, fuck you. Anyway, where were we?
Okay, we were in the middle of talking about Kama, the how Okyu is a big whole complete story about Kama and also Kasuga, which it is. Because we do our classic Nasu thing. There's a literal moment of hopelessness and darkness.
Literal.
Because Kama is a smug prick.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I didn't even have to do anything. I'm just going to turn on the lights and go about my business.
Just enough oxygen to breathe.
Have fun in space, bye! And then Kama makes the ultimate mistake with humans, which Sion throws back in her face, and she's just like, hey, just because we can't actually survive in space doesn't mean humans can't survive in space. We've been to space, motherfucker! Nasu loves space. But no, Kama reveals in that moment as almost like trying to break Kasuga, where she's like, actually, you know how I got here? 'Cause you called me. You had a dying wish. And then, because of that wish, I was able to follow the Tokugawa backwards and forwards in time, because, time is a flat circle.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, if you were paying attention to all those fucking flash something scenes that only you could see, it was pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I knew this already, and even then I was like, gee, I wonder who this comforting motherly voice is to literally every Tokugawa.
I wasn't necessarily sure. I thought it was Kama at first.
That also, I think, would be a valid interpretation.
Yeah, but actually, I was actually very pleasantly surprised, because honestly, to skip ahead a few minutes, the moment where Kasuga overwrites every single one of them, oh god, I love that scene so much.
Yeah, they have to juice her up. They have to make her super Kasuga first.
Ah, yeah.
They have to enter the hyperbolic time chamber.
And this is something, funnily enough, this is something that I saw coming a mile away, from, knowing about Lady Kasuga. Lady Kasuga is the Okyu. And if we're talking about fucking, conceptualism, I guess, oh no, Kasuga's gonna be the fucking final key to this.
Yeah.
And it did pay off. It was all Kasuga literally becomes, fucking space, ultimate space Kasuga X.
Yeah. Basically what happens is she's like, Pavarti, let my soul out. Let me become just a soul. Then I'm just the same as all the other materials that were used for this,
Mm-hmm.
People's information was encoded into their souls and then turned into the building blocks of the Okyu. And then what she does for the payoff is she's like, okay, we're gonna go in the hyperbolic time chamber. Scheherazade is going to tell us a story about the mythic Lady Kasuga, the historical Lady Kasuga, who, the terror of the Okyu and all that stuff. And then after that, Madhari is going to blast me with her NP and make me think that I am that Lady Kasuga. And it works. And then she even says this as her glowing orb appears to Kama. She's like, excuse me, I am Lady Kasuga. I am the Okyu. What woman's name is synonymous with the Okyu? Mine. Therefore, it's not your fucking Okyu. It's my fucking Okyu. Floor, bitch. And Kama's just like, fuck? What? How? What? Literally, Kama stands there for a good 5-ish minutes of screen time and just has the nonplussed look on her face and just like, what? What's And then she starts to get upset. She's like, what is happening right now? And then Izu pukes up some blood and becomes a sword.
He had a plot to become the enemy.
Yeah. And it worked, because he's like, he turns to Yagyu and he's like, hey, Yagyu, I am 100% definitely the Tokugawa's enemy. I have totally betrayed them to get here. What do you do? And he's like, I must destroy you. And he's like, do it, bitch, you won't. And then he gets sword and he's like, my plan. And then he becomes the ultimate Tokugawa anti-weapon. He turns his soul into a Muramasa blade, which Wise Izu would know all about, because he was the guy who led the response to the name is escaping me. Shimabara. Yeah. That is, those guys in those rebellions used a lot of Muramasa school swords to kill a lot of Tokugawa. That's actually probably why Muramasa's blades are usually described as demonic in a lot of folklore.
Yep.
Because they were literally verboten by the government. They were probably just really rad swords, but they were used by the Tokugawa shogunate's enemies to kill a lot of fucking Tokugawa. They literally outlawed his swords. So, So he becomes a Muramasa blade, which becomes the ultimate anti-Tokugawa weapon, because, and this is even shown in the meta fight, I love this, Kamamara has the king trait, because she is Tokugawa.
Yep.
So the ultimate Tokugawa weapon becomes her downfall, and then she basically has to choose what authority to surrender, and then she picks arguably the wrong one.
Yeah.
like, technically she keeps a lot of her incredible spirit origin and powers as staying as Kamamara, but it means that once she surrenders control of the Ooku, Kasuga's literally like, yeet! That was a yeet, by the way. If you've never seen one, she got yeeted.
No, I like how they did the effect of just the doors opening, just doof, 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 as she sent flying out. I'm like, that was good.
Is that a shot in Spirited Away?
It's actually a shot, and I think in quite a few.
It is a few, but there's definitely one Ghibli film that has a very iconic version of that shot. But yeah, it's a very strong recurring motif. You just open all the shoji screens and just like,
yeah.
Well,
but
and like I said, Kamamara stays in her Kamamara personification, so then it's just like, oh hey, you're a giant space lady flying up there. It will be a real shame if I use the power that destroyed you to destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
They make everybody relevant. It's pretty cool. They even make your boy Gordolf relevant. I do love how Kasuga turns on her Kasuga powers for like 5 seconds, and it shows you it's a subtle story hint that she can overcome Kama briefly, but she temporarily nullifies his Tokugawa-fication with her
ultimate
Dorm
Mother powers.
And I do love, by the way, that again, shout out to Gordolf, great guy, salt of the earth. What's his response to coming out of being mind hacked and
punch,
realizing that you are in distress and several servants are there, right? And there's clearly an enemy harlot in front of him. Take this, all my love, my hate, super golf punch, and he whiffs, but he actually makes Kama get out of the way. She's actually like, whoop, don't do that. Like, she turns back on the mind hack in a second, but like, it was pretty bold of him, because he was just like, hold on, there's danger, punch!
I love the characterization of Goldorf he's kind of this he's not necessarily a coward or ineffectual, but he's just so, I don't even know what the word I want to say, like, I have difficulty defining a word to describe Goldorf, because at times he's courageous, but other times he's a coward.
He's a very pampered character.
I guess
trauma's a good way to look at it. Like, he's got stuff with him that, like, he will suddenly break out and do things, but for the most part, he is a pampered noble.
He's a pampered noble who's not necessarily, one of those, corrupted nobles. He's like, yes, I am super important, so I deserve all the best things in life, clearly. But I don't necessarily think I should get the best things if, the people working under me are not also getting the best things. I must protect them because I am the superior one.
Yeah, he has a lot of what we'd call classic
noblesse oblige.
Yeah, he's got a lot of classic leadership and nobility tropes. Like, I think honestly a lot of his arrogance comes from like the fact that he's like, excuse me, fuck you, I've earned this. you think I did mountain survival training so I could not have the best tea and be super fat? And then Shion makes him run it off in the end because no conservation of matter. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, no, like I love his character where it's like, oh yeah, no, he's pampered and he's kind of a prick, but like when the chips are down, he wants to do something.
Mm-hmm. He will try and save you the best he can, which doesn't usually amount to that much, but you know what? I fucking appreciate the effort.
I'm pretty sure at some point, Gordolf will actually land a punch on a beast tier enemy or something. Not saying a beast, but like, I feel like there's going to be an ultimate climax of part 2 somewhere where like, all of our hard work dragging this guy along with this, because I will say it is a little weird that even though, time space is fucked once again, Da Vinci and Sherlock seem very insistent, and arguably even Sion seem very insistent that we need a director, right? Like,
yeah.
The characters are very staunch of like, no, can't have anything happen to that guy. Like, I am betting that at some point that will thematically come back to actually be useful. We should all take turns punching Beryl. He's a shifty motherfucker. That was another character I had that conversation with the other day about people liking or not liking. Where it's like, Beryl is a character who is obviously incomplete because we haven't done his Lost Belt yet, right? Like, we've learned a lot about the cryptors as we do their Lost Belts. But also, he is definitely written 100% to be a shifty motherfucker.
Yes.
Like, at no point is his writing in the English, like, Lost Belt intros we've seen not either been, like, he has a very weird stilted relationship with Kadok. They're buddies?
Question mark?
And also, oh boy, here I go killing again. Like, he likes murdering, and he has thoughts about MASH I don't agree with. and if I find him, I'm gonna punch him in his face. But like, I don't want to say that's the whole of his character, but like, there's some backstrap stuff. Loth, be careful about your apparentlys. That sounds like that's potential future spoilers. I wouldn't doubt that that's true, and I don't think it actually changes anything, but don't do apparentlys. That sounds like a future spoiler. Yeah, we'll see in June a lot of stuff. I don't remember it at all. If it was briefly mentioned. I'm not shocked, though. Beryl's he is a shifty motherfucker. He's written that way. As opposed to David, who is just, I feel like he's a blank space. Like, he has his own interesting opinions, but I know so little about him. He's just opaque.
I put David on almost the level of a deity, almost. Who's like on like his mindset of something just so far removed from humanity that it's like almost nigh incomprehensible.
That makes sense. Da Vinci refers to him as a genius in the classical sense, like herself. Like he is supposed to be an actual honest to God genius. So like that means that he is very different from people, and we'll see how that plays into and what's going on with him and stuff. That'll also be quite a while, I'm sure, before we get there. I'm also really interested to also see, though, if we can keep characters around. We unfortunately sort of murdered both of the female cryptors, but then one of them became a servant, so she came back. And they did actually acknowledge that because they gave her a whole summer thing. So like they actually brought that back. But like Kadok has canonically lived through his lost belt, and we were robbed of our chance to hang out with him because because Gordov says, I was just going to go in there with tea and crumpets. You know, that kid, that scruffy little animal kid, he'd be done in. Gordov would give him tea and crumpets and he'd be doomed. I
hope we get to see that of fucking Gordov's, interrogation via food. I'm like, oh my god, this would be great.
Oh yeah. And I don't want to say anything for sure about Lost Belt 4, but Pepe feels like a character who's going to live through it. Like, I'm pretty sure he does. Just because, why would
if I've seen the CM, and it looks like I wouldn't necessarily be on the same side, but it seems like at some point you're hanging out with Pepe.
That's definitely hinted in the CM. It seems like one of those things where a little bit like some of the elements of.
Oh, no, I put some thoughts together. I'm like thinking maybe Pepe isn't in full control of his lost belt. Maybe
it's possible because I'm thinking it's probably like, I would bet it's probably like Lost Belt 1 where you kind of cooperate with Kadok. Like, you're competing for the same goal, but it's the same goal you're after.
Yeah.
And then you utterly blow Kadok the fuck out because...
You ride a golem.
And he's bamboozled. He's like, I thought I was gonna go big, but holy shit. What? You did this for 2 years? What?
You're crazy. I can't handle this.
Which, and that's what he says when he actually talks to his crypto friends. He's like, guys, I need you to understand. The master from Chaldea is fucking crazy. They're a lunatic. They're completely worthless. They're fucking nuts, though, dude. You won't believe it, my dude. So, yeah. Honestly, those are those vibes, to wrap it back around to OQ, those vibes are kind of similar to how we treat our post-Beast characters, where they're just like, guys, can you fucking believe this shit? Like, Kiara's like, this was so crazy out of place for me. I want to go again at this. I want to be a different me so I can look at this problem again. And she punishes / talks Kama into the same thing at the end of Oki, where she's like, we talked about this before, where she's like, yo, I'm gonna make you be summonable, but also try the slow play. And Kama's like, that could be funny. The slow play could be funny. At the very least, I could try and seduce the master in the same body as Pravati. That would be very embarrassing for her, and that became a CE later. I think that's next year?
Yeah,
yes,
next year.
I believe that's Seishonagon, so that would be next year.
Yeah, but yeah, because again, they keep a theme that FGO keeps harping on is, the fate, intertwining fates, the bonds we make, and whatnot. So basically, what Kiara did when she plucked Kama from hurling herself into a sun, because that's what happened.
That was Kama's current mood, yes.
Mm-hmm. She's just like, now that you have a bond of fate, I'm just gonna, twist something in here, which was apparently very disgusting smelling. Boom, you're happening. And because here's something that when Lady Kasuga was getting her OQ on, she was talking about, the love of seeing someone grow up, the love of seeing someone do better and stuff, and how Kama didn't know that love.
Yeah, she basically I think there were 2 key points to Kasuga's big put down. One, first of all, how fucking dare you? This is not my OQ. Though Kama does like have some back and forth of that on her own, right?
Yeah.
Not to like say that Kasuga is infallible either. But the second point that she's like, also, your opinion of love is like really self-centered. You are just going to create a Kama's master plan, like I said, is to absolutely syndrome people, and she's gonna like give everybody a perfect lover who gives them all the love they need all the time. Therefore, people don't need to love each other, and therefore love is non-existent, basically. Because when everybody has love and it's unlimited and it's perfect all the time, then it's basically the same as nobody having it. Because there's no quest for love, there's no drive for love, there's no need to understand love. You just have it.
Yes, it is something freely given.
So, yeah, that. But basically, that love is still very, very restricted. Like, it's still in Kama's mindset. She's like, if they need me to love them softly, I'll love them softly. If they need me to love them roughly, I'll love them roughly, kind of a thing. Which obviously could be taken a lot of ways. Perverts.
Hentai.
But also, just in general, like talking about like seducing like Wise Izu or Goldorf. I don't actually know if Kama's like doing any boning down there in the OQ, or if she's just being cute and like feeding Goldorf stuff. Like, are they fucking in the bottom of the OQ? I don't know. I don't think she actually has to do that to love Gordolf. I don't think that's necessarily the kind of love he needs in his life.
No, I think Gordolf just wants someone to tell him he's a good boy, he does all right, and, not make fun of him.
And occasionally, listen to him when he rambles about race cars.
Yeah. Again, like, back to the earlier point, there's a lot of there's not love. It doesn't all need to be fucking physical. Like, heck, even if you're in love with someone right now, you're not boning all the fucking time.
Correct. Yeah, and I want to say that, well, obviously, especially at her higher level designs and being associated with Mara, Kama does, like, have some sexy time vibes. It's also not necessarily all that. Her plan to destroy love is to give all the kinds of love, which is why Kasuga calls her out, because she's like, hey, you may be the god of love, but have you ever, like you said earlier, taken a backseat and, like, watched someone you love grow and develop that kind of love for them? And Kama's like, you are correct, I have never tried that. So, there's some fun back and forth stuff there. It'll be very interesting. Like I said, I don't think Kama shows up in, like, I'm pretty sure she has an interlude. I don't think she shows up in story events later yet. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any follow-on. Much like how we got a lot of what Chaldea Kiara is like in this, right? I wonder if there might be a future event where we get to see a lot more of what Kama is like at Chaldea. We'll see. I
definitely would appreciate that. Like, again, I want the beast to be actually relevant in a more story-focused sense. Because, like I said, like, defeating a beast, even if they're immature, is a significant milestone. It's not something that should be necessarily taken lightly. Like, speaking of events, a lot of these, like, the events, while, they are all, devastatingly dangerous and, can, fuck up things, as we know it. It's not literally overcoming, like, it's one of the 7 great calamities of all fucking humanity,
No. I mean, like, technically, Shimosa's and a couple of events in that Shimosa year, we did beat excess demon pillars, which was, some of those were, like, boss fights at the crux of entire singularity, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, most events are semi-low stakes, just a holy grail is involved. It's probably bad, but not, like, the worst.
Yeah, no, like, usually, like...
While singularities can fuck up time and space, I want to throw this out there, it is explicitly noted that Kiara and Kama's plans as beasts are both cosmic scale, right?
Yeah.
And I really want to see... No spoilers, guys. Don't stop with your casual spoilers. But I also really want to see what Summer Kiara is like. Like, what's up with that? Oh, she popped up in Valentine's and JP? That sounds interesting. I think she was a bonus servant in the Vishra Christmas event, but I don't think she was actually like a story fight or a support servant. I think she was just a bonus because she was an Indian servant. We'll see if that plays back up. There are a couple of opportunities. Like I said, it's much like how I talked about, like I don't think Kiara has a character arc in this event so much as this event serves as an illustration. Yeah, it's an illustration of what her character is like now that she's not in the CCC event. Like, she's still not a great person, but she's not actively harmful to humanity anymore.
Kiara follows her own rules. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Right.
She's like, all right, I have made this vow. I will stick to it, even maybe if I shouldn't, because she kind of gets off on that.
And it also, like, it explains why she works as a Chaldean servant. It's like she can't have anybody else come in and fuck up her master plan, right? She's doing a slow play. So if Kama gets in there and wins, well, shit, that means I don't get to do what I want. So she keeps playing by her rules, and we'll see how it shakes out.
I guess you could say Kiara kind of takes an anti-villain role, maybe.
Yeah, basically, like we said, she's still the demonic bodhisattva. She's not a good person.
No,
as evidenced by the fact that she can only mostly contain being horny on main. Only some of the time is she not horny on main.
And this is one of the reasons why I think I like Kama more than Kiara as far as beasts go. Is I feel like Kama is definitely more actually. Oh, what's the way I want to say this?
I mean, I don't know if it's the phrase you're looking for, but Kamamara being Kamamara, and that's her official beast term is Kama/Mara.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beast version. That is a much more cosmic threat anchored in mythology and, like, the greater scope. Kiara is just an OC character.
Yeah.
Like, she has an interesting backstory. She has interesting relationships to other characters. She has some interesting themes, like talking about the demonic bodhisattva and stuff. Mm-hmm. But she's still an OC. Do not steal. Do not steal.
And yeah, and Kiara is like again, this like here's the thing: can you develop Kiara's character anymore? Can you?
I mean, unless because it's a summer, it changes her outlook even more, which it may or may not. We don't know.
Yeah.
But no, not really, because that's kind of the whole point of her current characterization is that she is in a holding pattern. She is literally not doing anything about her situation because that's. Well, one, that's her kink, but also, two, that's just how it is, right? Like, it's how to explain where she is and what she's doing.
Yeah, Kama, I feel like looking at her, you know, her bond lines and her profile, like, there could be some potential, like, changes to her personality and whatnot. Like, I love her, bond 5 section lines. Her, the one for her second one, makes me laugh, where she talks about, why are you making me feel this way? Stop. I need to stab you. Stand still.
Yeah. Kama's great. In respect, this event is a great debut for Kama. Yeah, I think she has some more depth as a character. Some of it has to do, I think, with just the extra effort to, like, her multiple ascensions and shit, right? Like, making those feel like distinct characters. But, like, in my personal opinion, this is just Omega's personal opinion, right?
Listen,
there are many faces of Kama. Duh.
Yes.
Because she can multiply herself a lot. But to me, I talked about this when we did our first impressions. The first version of Kama we meet, basically, right? Which is apathetic, you know, nihilism Kama. Like, I don't care if you live or die, dude. Whatever. Oh, my plan's not foiled. I'm just gonna keep going. That's cool. You're doing stuff. Great. Just like her, I'm done with this. None of this matters mode. Big mood. Mood kindred, as they say. Like, I don't necessarily feel like. To talk about affection or desire, I don't know if I feel like affectionate or desirous towards that version of Kama's character. I'm just like, holy shit, I understand this so much. Just being 100% done with shit. No, I've had those days. It's great. You wanna get a coffee? Just talk about shit? No, that's cool. We could just be the floor. And Kama's like, yo, dude, I'm literally the floor. And I'm like, whatever. Actually, no, technically in the upper levels of the Ooku, it's like, dude, the floor is people. And I'm like, whoa, dude. We're all made of star stuff, my dude. Kama, have you heard of Carl Sagan? And then to me, the glowing eyes, mwahaha, I'm so evil, Kama. I'm just like, like as an FGO player and reader, I'm like, nah, I've seen worse. Like she thinks she's Billy Badass, but I'm like, man, you do not know the motherfuckers I have met. Like, yeah, you've got a pretty good evil plan. You're trying your hardest to be sinister. Like, I
just want to be like,
one time shooting rooted around in my guts.
I was like, I once got stuck in a fucking time loop for a very long time by an outer god.
I got time looped by Nyarlathotep. What other insane stuff have we done? I've been in historical Japanese wars a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, there was that one time Shuten literally does an augury with your guts while you're still alive.
I mean, like, shoot, just fucking, you fought Tiamat.
Yeah, no, I'm like Like,
you fucked Solomon.
Especially when you compare, like, Kama's not really that super scary in her ascensions, honestly. Like, the glowing eyes effect is cool. Like, she gets all serious. Shout out to Noniko Shitaya. She has a great range as Kama. Like, I don't think Kama actually sounds a lot like Sakura most of the time.
Nah.
She has a very good way of doing that voice. So I'm like, yeah, okay, you're scary. Hi, I'd like you to introduce you to Team Chaldea. Do you know who's in my assassin slot right now, Kama? It's fucking the first Asan. He might be the angel of death, dude. Have you seen Melt? She's very abrasive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she literally tried to melt me with her Valentine's candy, and Melt would be like, "No, I didn't. Shut up. I give you candy. Fight me."
Kick. Well, no, she wouldn't even say fight me. You just get kicked.
Yeah. Then as you lie bleeding on the floor, she's like, "Fight me, nerd." But no, so like that Kama, I'm just like that's in a slightly condescending way. I'm like, that's adorable. You think you're hot shit. And then I'm like, bawling her eyes out. I'm done with this world. This sucks, Kama. That's just pure chef's kiss. That's pure Kino. Like, bamboozled Kama is the best. I'm like, this is actually adorable. Like, you thinking you're super cool and then just running headfirst into the wall that is Kasuga. You're just like, that's adorable. You thought you were. That's one of those big moments where you're like, you think you're big britches on campus, and then you immediately, like, you know, to talk about something perfectly mundane, it's like thinking you're super cool and the best, and then you like get test scores posted and you're like number 3, right? Or something. Like, Kama realizes suddenly, like, oh, I am cool. I'm not the coolest. Shit. And it's just watching that kind of break is just kind of like, aw, that is so precious of you that you tried so hard. Pat. Good job, Kama. Now, kill yourself. Destroy yourself for me, because I totally cruised that last boss fight with Kama powers.
I definitely want to say
do we have any more story stuff to talk about? Because I might want to talk about the mechanics then.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know, like, you're talking about how you were entertained by her breakdown. I don't necessarily say that was the same mood for me.
Well, like I said, this is why I preface. This is my personal, like, I'm not I want to say I'm a super big Kama stan. I'm a redrop stan. The art is precious, but Kama did grow on me, but probably not in the way she did on a lot of people.
Yeah, no, like, she definitely, like I definitely say I can feel affection and concern for Kama for a variety of reasons. Like I said, like, I think, like I said, she had a bad draw in life and necessarily didn't do the best thing to resolve it. But to be fair, I'm gonna call all of you out right now. I'm pretty sure most of you have not made the best decisions regarding your own life decisions either.
Nobody's perfect, as they say.
Yep. So, like, when I saw Kama basically having that breakdown of this, everything sucks, why is this happening? This is where I go, okay, this is where I go, we have reached the starting line of you know,
to quote
Kama
anime manga.
We've reached the starting line. And because, like I said, this is the point where, you know, I'm sorry I'm saying I'm trying to get my thoughts in right without trying to sound too weird about it. But I'm just gonna say fuck it. We're finally at the start point where you can finally start turning your life around. And that's kind of a weird thing to talk about when you're thinking about servants and you know how they are
semi-static.
But it has been shown that in some circumstances, servants can change. And even if they are semi-static, I'm the kind of person, like, I know I say I'm evil all the time, but I generally do want the best for people, even if they're fake 2D PNGs. I want the best for people. Like, I tell people this all the time. I usually operates in thoughts of shades of gray, because I am the belief if you cannot forgive someone for their crimes, or at least try to understand them why they did it, why the hell would you expect anyone else to do the same for you? Like,
I mean, hey, if you even want to talk about classical ideas, I think no, I didn't actually say that in this episode, but always remember the adage from that one book people sometimes say is good. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Mm-hmm. It's like, so, yes, if you do wrong, you must be punished. But after you are punished, that is the time for you to change things. And like I said, we literally just basically redid the fucking, we stopped the plan. We made her literally have, I almost want to say it was probably a cathartic breakdown. Like,
well, yeah, we got, talking about Kama having a front, right? We got her to admit that as much as, yes, she was the evil demon king, she was also still kind of just a little upset about getting blown up that one time, and like was acting out about it in a really weird way.
Yeah. So we literally got that out of her, blew her up again, and then by someone's fucking meddling, we have another chance.
Right. As we said before, Kama was literally going to yeet herself into a sun. That's like that's the that was her big mood.
Yeah.
Was like, okay, well, as we like to say on the Discord, guess I'll die.
So again, like, because this is where I draw the interesting parallel of Lady Kasuga is talking about the love from watching someone grow, and Kama talks about, doing that for the master, but I can also see that as a way, in some ways, of the master doing that for Kama.
Well, yeah, and I have not yet cycled through. I have not done enough extra FGO, because they didn't do half APs to get my Kama's bond up to full, so I don't know a lot about her full bond lives.
It takes a minute.
I expect it takes a second, yes, that would make sense.
But, like, and like I said, because I put in that work.
Well, you also had yours, like a whole full week longer than mine, maybe more?
Yeah, and I used her a lot during the event, for reasons.
I used her a lot once I got her and got her leveled, because 100% damage plus MLB CE is a hell of a drug, guys, to talk about for a hot second.
We'll
come back to it.
We're coming back to it. But I gotta get this. Get
your thoughts out. I rambled about Kama for a while. Go.
Okay. So, because you'll definitely see in her bond lines, while she never necessarily drops the sassy nihilism front necessarily, you definitely start noticing throughout of her, she is definitely a lot softer to you as the progressions, and it's like throughout all the Ascension too. I love how all Ascension have all different bond lines. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, this starts a trend of characters who have significantly different Ascension sprites having wildly different lines. Like, obviously, I think the Valkyries were technically the first because that's literally 3 different characters. But, like, FGO really starts a constant trend of going pretty ham. Mao Nobu will be later, yeah? Between just, first Ascension is basically regular Nobu, Archer Nobu with Sirius. Second Ascension is the Fool of Awari. And third Ascension is full-blown Mao Nobu. As big as a mountain, as it says.
But, so, where was I going? Oh, yes. So, yes, when I saw that scene, I was all like, all right, now we can actually maybe start some character development with Kama. The thing I just find weird is, because, like I said, I didn't listen to the one, and I actually haven't fully read up on actually Historica, so I didn't know about fucking, was it Kati? I was like, that's weird. That's a little weird. That's a little weird, Nasu. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, it's a thing, Rati was the day of these names. It's a thing where it's a little weird, where it's like, I'm pretty sure that's still canon, but, we're just, not gonna acknowledge that? That's a little,
That's a little weird. I want, like, are they doing this so they can maintain Kama waifuism?
Possibly?
That
said, I do believe I would fully respect that Kama, as Kamadeva, god of love, could have enough love juice to also still have a wife and have a side piece. And other wife.
Yeah, no, I feel it. Listen, I will say, credit to FGO. They could have some chances for people to be for them to be shied away from, like, polygamy and, harems and stuff, but they was like, Nero? Nah, harem. Maeve? Harem.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something that I think it works because FGO is usually working with historical or mythological characters, and a lot of historical cultures were slightly less obsessed with what we call the monogamy than modern Western Christian puritanical culture is. Like, to the Celts, who were crazy animal people. Holy shit. But, like, to them, the idea that Maeve, a powerful queen of her own country, and possibly a goddess, would, like, not want to bang, like, 5 dudes at once, that was just, like, not a thing. It's like, no, dude, she's a big deal. She needs a lot of loving. She needs 5 regular dudes or 1 Fergus. And then Fergus is, I think, what is it, like, he needs to bang 7 regular women or 1 Maeve? Like, it's it's very interesting. Somebody like Emperor Nero, also notorious horn dog.
Yes.
And wild probable sex pervert, but
also real talk Musashi, like, again, also you're not, Musashi's not in your harem, you're in Musashi's harem. Like,
listen, Lady Musashi knows what she likes.
Yes, Musashi haunted the fucking hot spring due to the horny.
Yes, correct. I want to see mixed bathing. As her ghost just lingers there forever. And we're like, no, Musashi, go. We need to open the fucking hot spring without some weird sword man acting like an old dude hanging out. Go. Get out of here. Shoot.
Actually, now that I realize it, I just realized that, what was it, Sakura Tenge? Is that the voice actress?
Yeah.
Plays 2 horny on main characters in FGO.
Oh, you mean Musashi's VA? That's Sakura Ayane.
Sakura
Ayane
Tenge
is Nero's VA.
Oh, that's right.
Separate people.
I missed that.
Also still thematically linked, though.
Yeah, still, but also, yes. Because she also plays Maeve.
So yeah, it's a whole
rigmarole. Mm-hmm. But back to the subject comment. I think I got all the ways I want. So it's like, I adore her and care for her and would probably love her. Just probably not physically for a very, very good reason. But again, not all love has to be physical.
Mm-hmm. And I've like I said, I talked about it. I don't think I'm like one of those like diehard Kama stans like some people are. Some people really fall in those holes. I
don't think I can fall in that hole because. Well, sorry, what were you saying?
I was about to mention like I'm thinking to myself also. There's a large number of Kiara stans who are like, possibly given the meta context, are unhealthily into Kiara. Like I'm like, dude, you're gonna die. Like you like they're. It's like, you know, that the adage your mom's like, would you jump off a bridge if your friend said it and the bridge is Kiara, and like these people are like, yeah, and I'm just standing there in front of the bridge like, don't do that, man, you'll die. And they're like, whatever. They throw on their shades. They put a toothpick in their mouth and they just go in, and I'm like, okay, well,
they're dead. They're dead to me now.
I guess you're
literally.
Dead.
Like I said, I can't say I can fully stand because, you know, like in drawing again the parallels to Shiro. Sometimes when you love somebody, you have to be all like, all right, you stop that right now. Then you slap them. You
gotta have a little bit of firmness.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I'm not like a diehard, but definitely I loved seeing the many moods of Kama and have come to develop a kind of affection for both like her nonplusedness. I just in general, I love characters of all stripes who do that thing where they accidentally slam into the glass door of the plot, right? Where it's just like, they're just trucking along, they think they're super cool, and then they just go bonk, and I'm just like, you thought you were doing something cool, didn't you? Well, that's not always how that works out for everybody.
Well,
like,
if you want to have
trope reversal, I like.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily trope reversal because you got to win it somehow. So at some point, the villain has to fuck up. They're really cool.
Yeah, no, but I'm just like I love especially when we do that, right? Like when you write villains from that certain sort of competence level, and they're going along and they're doing their thing, and then it's just like bonk, and you're like, especially if it's ironic, where like it's the one thing that they dismissed in the first act, you know?
Well, yeah, like, I think that's literally a trope.
What is it? Beautiful work. And then it turns into an
actually, no, it is Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, that would definitely be a form of Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
But like it's just one of those classic downfall tropes that sometimes you don't see a lot anymore. But it works really well for Kama, and I like her.
It's almost a tragedy, almost.
If it was if she was not trying to basically ruin the cosmos, it would be more tragic.
Yeah.
In this case, it's just slightly ironic, and it builds sympathy for her.
Like I said, I think she's a sympathetic character, and you can empathize and understand her reasons. And I think that's what makes her. This is why I think I like her a lot more than Kara, because even though I have a Kara, I've hung out with her, I'm like, Kara, I don't understand what's going on in your mind at all.
Honestly, also, speaking about depth writing, that's Kiara's problem, I think, being written the way she is. She is Rapture, the one who receives all love. It's her mentality is somebody with mental illness, basically. Like, it's really warped and fucked up, and it's hard for normal people to actually, like, understand where she's coming from. The idea that she is the only person in the universe and all love is hers. Whereas Kama is coming from it from a different angle of, I will become all the love in the universe, so everybody will be loved because I love everybody. Even if you're a dumbass, I still like you, but also I hate you. But I love you, but I hate you. But also, another important thing is that we talked about, like, the,
no, Kiara was part of a cult or something.
She was kind of quarantined. She wasn't allowed to hang out with outsiders, and also she was a chronically ill child. She was very weak, so all she did was sit at home and read books while she was considered to be the... Because even when she was a kid, her Buddhist sect knew she would be a potential bodhisattva. So, like, she was, like, treated as, like, put up on a literal or figurative pedestal, but also was really, really ill a lot of her childhood, so she didn't get out much. And then some doctors came and made her better, and then she went out in the outside world, and then she usually starts fucking shit up. But anyway, but like I said, it's really hard to grasp Kiara's mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not normal. Kama's mindset is a little bit more understandable because a lot of people definitely have felt those kind of, like, you like people, but also you're like, I fucking hate you sometimes. Like, you know, It's possible to have those two emotions at once, but also more importantly, as you said, there is that final catharsis of her character, right? As she's about to lose, she does the classic villain, no, how could I, you meddling kids type monologue. Like, the whole, like, I got so close.
Hang on one second.
He's getting a phone call. That's in the, definitely in the FGO continuity, I believe that's advice. But it's something that's different in different aspects. But this does, no matter what, Kiara's experience, does push her to become a therapist. Like, she learns about, mental health from, and stuff from other people. It's just that, at least in the OGCCC timeline, she uses that for evil with the power of magic hacking. But no, while Lucky is indisposed, I'll finish my thought really quick, which was I was just going to say that as he talked about with, like, seeing that catharsis moment that makes you sympathetic for her, a lot of what Kama says is also a front while she's trying to achieve self-actualization, right? She's trying to fake it till she makes it. She's like, you don't care. You're a badass. You're the best. It's that comic about, like, you're an adult. You can do this as Kama stares into the mirror, right? And then the tears is the final shot. Somebody could even do that comic edit if they wanted. Because Kama also, as Lucky has been bringing up, talks about how she did actually kind of have some shit things in life. Some stuff happened to her. Some stuff she didn't have any control over. She was just trying to do her job, and she gets a lot of shit for it. And, no, not that one. It's the comic with the guy pointing about, you're an adult, you can do this. You're not gonna cry. And then the next shot is whatever the joke of the punchline is, the guy's crying. Not that that gift's not great. But yeah, it's basically like Kama has this whole process of, like, actually talking about her real feelings and letting it all out that makes her a lot more sympathetic than, yeah, that one. You could absolutely edit Kama and Oku into this somehow. I don't know if I'll do that, but you could do that. But that, I think, gets to what Lucky talked about earlier, which is it makes Kama a lot easier to empathize with because you understand where she's coming from a lot more, and where she's coming from is actually very understandable to a lot of people. A lot of us have been in that position where you're just doing your job, you're keeping your head down, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and then shit happens, and you're like, what the fuck? This was not how this was supposed to go. That's a very common villain origin, but also that just happens to normal people. By the way, I'm Lucky has still stepped away for his phone call, which is why I was reiterating and clarifying Lucky's point while he was gone. If he has anything further to add when he comes back, he will. But I think I will pause the recording for a sec because we've been going for over 3 hours. It's a big episode. But Lucky's not back yet, so we'll be right back in a sec. All right, we're back. Okay, so you were busy with a phone call from your mom. I don't know if you heard there, but I basically took what you said in your point and then reiterated it for the people at home again, in case they missed it. Talking about how, like I said, the way you phrased it, her catharsis moment at the end with Kama, it's a moment people can relate to a lot better than Kiara.
Yes.
Like, if you look at, actually, I was going to bring this up just as you got your phone call. I just remembered, so I have something new to say, people. Haha. We talked earlier about the juxtaposition between their two scenes, right?
Yeah.
Kama rises, Kiara falls. At the same time, look at those two scenes. When Kiara's falling, all she can ever do is she does a full-blown Scooby-Doo if it weren't for you meddling kids, right? Like,
and she's also simultaneously maybe orgasming and fucking...
Yes.
Doing
she is enjoying, she loves and hates the moment of her destruction. But all she can do is talk about how she almost had it, she almost got it. I mean, she tries a couple of whammies to try and, like, take over Melt, etc., but it doesn't work. And then she just, melts into foam and dies. Kama has a whole full-blown motive rant that actually unpacks her real motivation because she's been holding it in this entire time. And I think it definitely puts those two characters on different pedestals. And arguably, it fits in the themes. Again, Kiara falls, Kama rises. Yeah. They are really opposites.
It's like, you can almost say Kama has the potential, I want to say, to move on. Again, servants and whatnot are weird, but I'm more hopeful for, Kama having the character develop.
And I think it's important to know that with the way Chaldea is, because we record our own saint graphs and stuff, our servants do actually get some, like, changes in things. I think I talked about this before, like, for the Fate AP system, people ask me, like, oh, hey, would you give, why don't you give Gawain, his Knightless Charisma? That'll be new. I'm like, I don't actually think I can do that, because that's Chaldea's Gawain, remembering that time he was the Grail Knight Gawain in Camelot, in the Singularity. Like, it takes them forever to implement it, but that's a change that's supposed to be because of the actual thing that happened in the story, right?
Right.
Like, it recreates his blessing of knightlessness. So, our characters do actually get to change in meaningful ways, both mechanically and narratively. So, it'll be interesting to see.
So it's hopeful. So I think that's enough on Kama and the story overall. Like, the story was very good. I will say this. I will say, while the stakes were high during OQ, I don't feel like they didn't have necessarily the same kind of crunch and tension that said compared to Seraph did.
It was definitely, and I think this was intentional, it was a slower burn. Like, It was a big deal, like, Kama kidnapped all our friends and then turned them into columns. But, like, by her own design, her labyrinth is meant to be navigated, so other than being really complex, it wasn't ever really trying super hard to stop us. It wasn't really threatening our lives. Like,
there were shenanigans. Like, that's just straight up. It was just shenanigans. We're having dance off with snakes. We're checking out, like, a bunch of erotic art and rooms.
But, like, it was never trying really hard to endanger us mortally until the very end, where she's like, and now you dumb idiots have fallen into my trap. Oops, the floor is Kama. And also, the air is Kama, and everything's Kama, actually. So, haha.
Haha. And even then, I would even say she's not really trying to kill you.
No, she's just waiting for the moment when your brain breaks, and that's one of those moments that's like, oh, you really think highly of yourself, Kama. You did put your extra research in. You did not research enough, because, man, as you said, Lucky, a lot of situations we've been in have been, like, way more risky to our personage, like, immediately. Like, they felt more high stakes, right?
Yeah, like compared directly to Seraph, like, we literally drop in there. We have no friends, no allies. We have this demonic AI mocking us from afar.
And she immediately tries to kill us with her guardians, right? Like,
and even thinking about the stakes, one of our bases have disappeared with everyone on it. We have no idea what's happening. This shit's intruding on our realm. It's like, this isn't a problem so immediate and detrimental to our health, and we could just literally die at any moment.
And meanwhile, OQ, which is very similar, which is, oops, we've lost everybody except Sion and Mash and us. It's like oddly more relaxed. Even when Sion sounds the alarm, it's like, oh, well, it's fucking weird. Everybody's gone. Except Kiara, who jogs up at the last minute. She's like, wait, I didn't go. I'm here. I'm ready to go. Put me in, coach. And we're like, cool. New guy, you're in.
I do like that's how we've probably been getting around the Kiara problem. Is just Kiara just doesn't kind of show up on anyone's radar.
She's got independent manifestation. She can decide when she exists. Or, as the line goes in the story, her independent whatchamacallit.
I like how they immediately interpreted it as independent action. It was just like, ooh.
Close. Yeah. It's very close. It's almost like that, but betterer. But yeah, it's, and I think it works for the turn, because honestly, I think that's almost part of Kama's, like, plan, if not just her writing, where she's like, she's super relaxed. She doesn't care, because you will go to the bottom to fight her, right? It's part of the setup. You gotta go to the bottom of the labyrinth. You gotta actually face her to get all your friends back. So she doesn't really feel too hard about trying to stop you or speed you up. You'll get there eventually. It's only once she's actually ready to unveil her master plan that she's like, actually, by the way, I'm Beast, I'm Space. This is really fucked up, and I'm gonna give you my love whether you want it or not. And you're just like, oh no.
Tags, reverse rape.
And then it full-blown becomes, especially the second time, it full-blown becomes that meme. Oh no! Anyway. You're literally floating in space with barely enough air and no light, and Scheherazade is just like, don't worry, Master, I've summoned a genie to grab you, because he can fly, and I've got us a lovely flying carpet. Just take a seat right here. It's pretty funny. But yeah, let's talk about mechanics.
Yeah.
So, okay, this was not as tedious as Seraph. I think that's because the way the quest design was, right?
Well, yeah, it's not tedious, but it was a little. I will say it was a little. What's the word I want to use here?
It's punchy.
It's a little punchy.
There's some big chunky enemies in here.
There's some big chunky enemies, and once in a while you'll unlock a path, and 3 more paths unlock, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, we talked about this in our first impressions. As much as I love all the little detail that goes into every hallway and room, the way the FGO engine handles this is really clunky, and it hurts so much.
Yeah, so it's like you have to load for every pip. There's paths everywhere. The maps are pretty big.
And then sometimes you'll just be wandering through, not because I wasn't looking at any maps to know where I was, because I was like, I'm gonna unlock everything. Because that's how you get all your CEs and shit. But like sometimes you'll stumble into a story boss fight. Basically, you'll fight a giant ghost, and you'll be like, well, shit. Now I have to, because you don't get your lance back until you complete the whole path, right? Until you complete the whole individual hallway. You now have to face off against a big chunky enemy who do get quite tedious as you go on. Now, I do want to say, I do appreciate that, the way it works is, if you do all your quests, you have 25 Hanafuda cards.
That's enough to fully empty it or fully fill it.
Yes.
Fully fill it.
Yeah, because it's 4% per card. So, I think with story, because you mandatorily get a decent amount throughout the actual story of exploring all the paths, you get about 75%. So unless you've been going ham on the Mystic Code, you're not even full up. I did actually use the Mystic Code a couple of times, because especially once it gets a couple of upgrades, it's really sick. It's pretty broken. I also used it as freely as I wanted to in the actual final fight, because why the fuck not? And then also to farm free quests. But it's still, like, very generous that, like, no, if you actually take your lumps and you do all the stuff, you can reverse your process and do the easiest fight. Like, the only way you actually care about the little gauge, other than, like, doing, like, a full fight or a no-bar fight, unless you're, like, an animal who's like, I really want to try out version 3 of this fight. Let's do 50% gauge. It's only because you have bum rushed this entire event and don't have all the Hanafuda cards, but also don't have the full gauge bar. Right?
Right.
Like, it's not really a punish, because your gauge will probably not be all the way up, but, like, if you do a walkthrough perfect run, you will definitely not have any control over your actually finishing the boss fight. That said, this definitely had a fight, and I want to know, because you said you beat it pretty cleanly, I want to know if you remember this fight and how you feel about it, because it's been a couple of weeks, obviously. But there was a fight in here. It was a story fight. It wasn't the final fight, but it was a story fight. It was with Kama. It's actually the first one where she uses her beast icon. That really reminded me that I
hated that.
Yes, I really fucking hate hopeless fights, especially in FGO. Guys, if the whole point of this fight is that I'm not going to beat them, please just make it end in, like, 3 turns. Don't make me break a whole bar that's, like, 50,000. 500,000, sorry. God, it was so
painful.
It's very painful. Also, I think, hold on, is Discord freaking out a little bit?
It's so painful.
Yeah.
Like,
we're back. Are we back? Hold on, I'm going to disconnect and reconnect. Hold on.
It's like
cutting out. Okay.
I had to use the same cords on it, because I wasn't able, because I was like, for one, as usual, I got really fucking close. I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
I thought about spending seals, but I was like, no, but I gotta fight Kama like 2 more times, dude. So no, I had to try and cheese it a little bit with some stuff. At this point, I did have a Kama, but for that first Kama boss fight, you cannot get a max limit break CE. It's not possible. You can only unlock the path that contains the final CE once you go back to the top. So, no, it's rough. It's hard. What did I do? I think I got in NA spoiler and I bitched about how hard this was and about how everybody had AoEs without damage CEs on their support list. Which, again, guys, I barely farmed any free quests to get all the shit I need out of the shop. The actual just playing the event, there's so many fucking tiny quests, you get so many drops. I am actually quite shocked that more people did not have boss killers.
I don't understand. I saw almost no servants with damage CEs, and I don't understand why.
Yeah. No, don't worry, guys. If you're like in the patron chat now and you're thinking about that moment, no, you guys came through for me because I was out there yelling about it. But like in general, out of my like 80-something friends, there were a lot of people out there who didn't have like set up to do damage. Like there were a decent number of people who did run a Kama, sometimes with a damage CE, and honestly, Kama's enough of a damage CE on her own. Fuck, dude, that 100%, damn. Listen, I got my Kama exactly on Assassin Lancer Day, so I had to go ham on EXPs. And I did actually end up 10ing her battery skill because I want that sweet 50%. Because I want to talk about Kama's mechanics. God, I love using Kama. I know I'll be disappointed when she doesn't get like plus 5 million damage again, but like compared to, because I've had Jack and Hassan for a long time. Honestly, because they're quick and buster focused, they're sluggers, right? Like, you usually want battery power on them, or you're putting them in for the long haul. And honestly, Gramps' thing that he's kind of fucking invincible. Like, it's really hard to kill him. But like, dude, damn, that 50% battery, that was just so much. Just be like, and we're NPing now. We're going. And we're doing it.
Hey, guess what? Put some overcharger NP. Go.
Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, that guy? Yeah, I sucked him into my space arm with my space beams, and they died. It's fucking dead. And it's just, no, it's shocking to me that, FGO's been out for almost 4 years. This is the first time an assassin, I think, of this type is out there. Even though there's a lot of single-target assassins. And I'm just like, wow, I really... Like, I don't think for specific challenges that Kama will outright replace Jack or Gramps. But, like, for generic, like, especially for farming, like, mobs who are big, Kama's definitely going to come in front when I'm like, man, I need to just clap some riders right now. But, yeah, that first boss fight with her was pain. And I'm like, you want me to break her first bar? And then she's just like, ha ha ha, it's useless. I'm like, God, why couldn't you make this end when she does her NP or after 3 turns, guys, please? Because she gives you the huge attack down buff. Like, it's so hard to put damage on the board. It felt to me like it was... It felt to me like it was a fight that was extremely punishing if you didn't have exactly Kama Scotty, right? Like, you couldn't exactly immediately make Kama fire her NP and then just keep doing it.
Oh, does Kama Scotty loop? I guess.
I think she's got like 10 hits, so yeah, probably.
Oh.
She probably does loops. I'm pretty sure people talked about that. I don't know. Somebody was actually like, I think it was a couple of weeks ago because we didn't talk about OQ at all last week. But somebody was very on point in the comments. Like, somebody was talking about me and my eating of the Scotties, which is still sometimes ongoing. There is a mod on our server though who's locked to my friends list who did have a Scotty. I did use that for the final fight. I waiver Scotty Kama. Kama beat Kama. I'm pretty sure Beast Kama's AI is programmed to bully support casters because she exclusively beat up my support Scotty. But that's okay. I had Shez on the crackback, so go Team Venture. But no, like, somebody said it best, and they replied to another person's comment where they're like, actually, I'm pretty sure Omega doesn't have Scotty, so that's why he's kind of insistent. And I actually replied to this. I was like, correct. I can't double Scotty literally anything. Cause I was saving for summer, and I did get every single summer 3 servants, so am I wrong? Huh? Was I wrong about that? But yeah, no, Kama is actually very well designed for Scotty loops. Hey, if I get lucky and get, I'll say this, guys, I'm not gonna say no, I'm not against Scotty, I'm just against you guys smooth braining her into literally every support setup. Yeah, it's like all the crazy Merlin. I think I tried a Merlin setup for the first Kama fight. It didn't work. Oh, God, Discord's being really weird at the middle of the night again. Hold on. Let me reset the connection. Let me reset.
It's lucky he's going to log into FGO.
It is true. It's like 20 minutes before a new login. But, yeah, so, like, that first Kama fight as Beast Kamamara, that seemed like it was a big DPS check for a lot of people. Nobody was really happy with that one. I do know some people were a little annoyed in general with how many giant ghosts you fight. I didn't really have a problem with the giant ghost, but that's because I was running, like, exactly support Kiara, or occasionally I would grab a support Kama. Like, if you use servants who have damage bonus, you can ice those guys pretty good, but they are chunky. I could see how if you didn't have the right support setup or can't find good support setups, you might have some problems.
Like,
also, to be real, it was really, really fucking repetitive. But anyway, you have to fight 15 of these motherfuckers. Oh, that said, though, the thing with the pillboxes and the secret Tokugawa who ended the shogunate, that was cool. That was a cool touch. We forgot to talk about that, but talk about conceptual powers. They do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Again, I really love the scene where Lady Kasuga overwrites all the future Tokugawas and past Tokugawas with, that tough love. I was like, oh God, it's so good.
Yeah. I wasn't afraid. I knew that I was going to get all the Hanafuda cards and be able to reverse the curse, so I was like, nah, it's fine. I didn't want to go ham just in case that made other shit complicated, but
it's like I think I probably
do a decent job because they know you won't know if the gauge is good or bad, and technically it's bad until you get to the end. They do a decent job where like you aren't actively fucked over by building the gauge if you use the command codes and stuff. It's only if you're being a greedy fuck and you are powering to the bottom, like you're finding all the right paths and you're using the command seals like crazy, you get fucked up. So they left a lot of failsafes in there. But no, the actual final like fights were actually okay. Like they didn't seem too hard. Admittedly, I was doing 0% gauge, so that is actually pretty easy. But I do actually like how, like, compared to all the bullshit you had to go through with the Kiara Punishers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having just done the CCC rerun and reminding how bullshit that was. I actually like how the gauge works. It's a lot more flexible in, like, giving you different difficulties of Kama. And at 0 gauge, she's not actually that tough. And at 100% gauge, I think she is considered to be one of the hardest boss fights in FGO to this day, almost 6 years in. So, yeah. That's really cool that they were able to cause so much flexibility in that. Like, and not make you feel like a chump, because you're taking, like, the 0% gauge. It's like, no. The 100% is really hard, and you have to, like, really force it to get that far. You could absolutely just beat the story at 0% and not make you overwork. But other than that, I think none of the fights are ever really concerning. I do like that I didn't really have to farm free quests. Like, I did all of them, obviously, for the apples and shit, but I didn't really have to farm for currency.
Nope.
There was pretty decent stuff in the shop. It was pretty fun, you know.
Like I said, just doing the little node battles were super quick. I mean, like none of them were like 3 waves. Some of them would be like, you know, just 6 in 1 wave, or they have 2 in 2, and 2, and so like you can usually get through them pretty quickly.
They gave you pretty good drops, and also, God, the mats. Holy shit, made it rain mats.
Made it rain.
Like I didn't go ham on mirrors at Valentine's. I think I still had enough to ascend Kama anyway, but I didn't have to worry about it because there's like 20 of them in the hallways. Like, no, it's super generous. I love it. We haven't had an event like this since. I really hope we do get another event in this style. Maybe we polish up the engine a little bit on the text, or we make it less texty.
Oh, hey, that means we get all these mats again when we do the rerun.
Ooh, yeah. We either get the same mats or we get new ones. They might reprogram it for the rerun, or they might not. But damn, that's right. We get new shit. And I'll have my max level Kama to start with. And my MLB damage C. Oh, that's gonna make that second run of that Kama first fight way easier. Ooh. I do love that sometimes when we do reruns make us feel good about ourselves. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. Sometimes you do feel powerful when you do that rerun. Like, honestly, we'll probably feel pretty good about doing the rerun of the GUDAGUDA we mentioned. Usually you get new usually the stores are slightly different. Like, they have different mats, but most of the other shit is the same. Like, all the important shit. APOC rerun will be good. Well, I can't wait for the APOC rerun, because Mordred costume. Also, probably they're gonna make her rank up quest wait until then. So yeah, no, I'm keyed for that for a lot of reasons, a lot of me reasons. That'll also still be rad though, because we got damage C's. But okay, no, we're
my Okita.
Nope, we're flitting around. Hold on,
flitting.
Yeah, we got it back. Sorry. It seems like anytime I'm in a Discord call for too long, my connection starts to freak out a little bit. I get kind of glitchy whenever we play D&D for like 4 hours and then we talk for like an hour after. That's when my Discord starts freaking out in the middle of the call. We have been going for 3.5 hours raw.
Yeah, we should probably start winding up then.
We should wrap up. Let us know your thoughts on OQ's story and mechanics in the comments. You know, how did you feel? Did you beat it clean? Did you have any problems? I mean, I'll try this form of reinforcement. Feel free to leave a comment where you, like, yell about, haha, you had your grailed level 100, 10, Kama, with double Scotty take out that first Kama boss fight immediately. You could leave that comment. I don't really give a fuck. But, yeah, leave your thoughts below. And, are you excited for the rerun? It'll be fun to try. So, yeah, we got some stuff going on there. And then I think the only other, other than obviously next week's show, we'll have whatever is going on next with JP. Like, again, the hunting quests end the 14th. Something will have to happen. Like, even if it's just like a million downloads campaign or whatever, even though I don't think it's time for another one of those, but even if it's just like some excuse for like half AP dailies, something will happen. Mm-hmm. We'll also have our thoughts on and how we are enjoying the GUDAGUDA rerun. Any further stuff, we'll have another wave of costumes to talk about. And, more news things to hit you up with. Okay. I did want to check in because it was started last week, the new poll, Fanservice Friday. You've still got about a week before that ends. We've got about 20 votes in. It is still a very slight lead, leading by, actually, I don't know, with 20 votes, 50% of the votes, probably a decent body. So a significant lead on St. Brigid, the Lancer, over Arsène Lupin, who is our second runner-up, but there's still some chance to change that up. So, go ahead.
Axe! Are you fucking... Axe, in what world is it okay to tell someone that?
I mean, so seeing it, especially because I hate this fucking joke, it's old, but that is very direct. That said, I feel like this is part of Axe's ongoing complex from the narrative of Yu-Gi-Oh! That David is stuck in the past. It's an Axe narrative. TM. We've TM'd it. Axe narrative.
Here's the thing, it's a year old, but trust me, I see it and I'm just like, oh no, I can't handle this. I see that and no, I relate to this meme.
I mean, I also relate to the meme, but usually with these kinds of, memes, I'm like, but also fuck you.
Yeah, I think Loft says that old does not equal bad.
Well, also, I gotta be real, it was Loft. Who do you think that GIF was aimed at? Ba-dum-bum. Hey guys, also watch the Star Wars AP. It has Lucky in it, and also X, and also Loth, and also me.
I yell a lot.
It's got our friend Martha in there as well. He's also in the Yu-Gi-Oh team. And it's got me, and I'm a lot of people, actually, because I'm the game master.
Mm-hmm.
And we are excited to get back to that this week.
Yeah, we are.
Oh. But we've been going for a while. Lucky should not be sitting down for super, super long, even if he took a little break in there. We have been going for a while.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get stiff sitting here. So, let's go ahead and do the wrap-up. Dig holes. Diggy hole. But, yeah, so, let's see. Where was I? Yeah, I think it's full outro time. Time for the full outro. We got everything scratched off the list. It's good. This has been Double Monitor Central. This podcast is brought to you by the Double Monitor Gang. Oh. And, yeah. Oh, I'm going to stretch my legs a little bit. Lucky, I don't think your plan worked. Maybe it's just because you're typing so furiously. I can definitely still hear you typing.
I know, I can't do anything about that.
It's okay. Don't worry. Most of that will get noise edited out, because I edit these.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody should screen cap that thing. Axe said, I'm drowning in the dirt. But okay. It's time for the outro, which is... If you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like if you liked it. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. You can also join our Discord. That link is, as always, in the video description and our channel page. I was going to make a joke about Axe there, but I felt that might be slightly mean-spirited, so I won't do it.
I'm about to get real mean to Axe here soon.
It's a conversation between you and him, but I won't shame him on the podcast, just for funs. I know he wouldn't appreciate that. So, instead I will remind you that if you're new here, you should subscribe to this channel so you can always get our latest shows, like Let's Talk FGO, like What's Up, like future stuff. You should also ring that bell for notifications, even if you are already subscribed, so you always know when we post our latest videos right away, like new stuff. Like streams, which are coming back soon. We've only got a few more days before we're let out of YouTube jail. The excitement is real, y'all. I'll probably talk about more of my immediate plans on that front on What's Up tomorrow. So, the only other things to do are to remind you that you can join our channel memberships. You can become a member of this channel by hitting the join button or clicking the link in the description below. Membership is another good way to support us and not be reliant on ads and super chats and things. And also you get access to cool stars that I made in MS Paint. And also you get access to emotes that Lucky made, not in MS Paint, in case you can't tell from how much they're super better. The more people who join our memberships, the more emotes we get. So, emotes. And the final bit, just like we said at the front of the show, you can support us on Patreon. You can get this episode early for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year. Audio downloads go out immediately after I finish the recording and edit the audio. You can also, at higher tiers, get access to videos early, get access to polls like Fanservice Friday, and future Teaching Omega Sensei polls when I finally have enough stuff to poll big on. Also, we'd like to throw this out there again on comments and Teach Me polls. We're still, I'm still, I say we because I talk about the royal we, but me especially, are still batting around the idea if people need to teach me on some of the stuff about Prisma. There's some interesting mechanics there that are explained earlier rather than later, but there's also like ongoing plot stuffs and spoilers, so I don't know. Let me know if you want more information. But yeah, patrons get access to polls, and at higher levels they can get on-air shoutouts, listen to shows live, etc., and it really helps us out and supports us. It buys us food and things, and not just gacha.
I've actually spent very little on gacha recently. I am proud of myself.
Hey,
Yay.
thumbs up.
Thanks a lot.
I don't really need to, but I've held back a little on my spending. I did not renew my my Arknights card this month because I hadn't really been playing a lot of Arknights until like literally 2 days ago. I think that's 2 days. Two? Yeah, it was yesterday or today that or 2 days that the Neural event launched. But support us on Patreon. It's cool. You get access to stuff. It's great. That is everything. So, like I said, I will see you next time for more Let's Talk FGO. But also, don't wait a week. You got an event to grind. Watch some other stuff that comes out. Check it out. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going.
We gone. We out. Comma bomb.